What you know about me? Seen it all, heard it all. Oh, what you know about me? I've done it all, just want it all. Oh, what you know about me? I seen it all, heard it all. Oh, what you know about me? Oh, what you know about me? Oh, what you know about me?
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Welcome to another episode of More Than a Title. This is episode 107. I'm your host, as usual, Jarrett Thomas, Chief Revenue Officer at Outside the Box Digital. And you know I got my brother, my brethren, your favorite CEO, Chadeo. Oh, I had it. My guy.
That shit was like the Matrix.
Sometimes I'm on the left, sometimes on the right. I don't know.
Homie, what's really good with you, man? How you feeling today, man? You feeling good?
Man, I'm feeling great, man. It's a nice day out here in New York City, man. I'm ready to party. It's Tuesday. It's my favorite day. You know the vibes, man.
I'm gonna tell you what, man. I'm not gonna lie, man. For the listeners out there, man, I lost a family member because we keep it all the way transparent, man. Just lost a family. Found out I just lost a family member. I don't really promote that type of thing on social media because so you'll never see me post about it. But found out I lost a family member. And I wasn't in a good space. You know what I'm saying? Didn't want to come hard today. But right, this is what we talk about, right? We have good days, we have bad days, right? And we have some really fucking bad days. So, I'm not in the best headspace, but for the people, for the culture, for the consistency, we're gonna be here and we're gonna see this thing through, man. So, just bear with me on this one. You heard?
Message.
That's real, man. That's real. We started off real, man. And gotta shout y'all out, man, because we doing it for y'all, man. So shout out for the supporters, the listeners, the follows across every platform. Y'all, we are on pace to do our third biggest month on YouTube, man. We on pace to do 100,000 this month on YouTube alone, y'all. It's because of y'all comments, the shares, all of that stuff, man. We really appreciate y'all, man. It means a lot to us from the bottom of our heart, and we do it for y'all, man. Like Cuzzo said, it's a lot of days, man. It's a lot of days that it's tough. It's a lot of days it's good, and we stay here every Tuesdays and Thursdays. We're not gonna stop, man, because we love this shit. We love it, man. You know what I mean? And also, shout out to our distribution partners, the Alive Podcast Network. So if you want more content from Black content creators such as More Than a Title, make sure you download the app. It's a really dope platform. Shout out to Angel Levis and the entire team. And what's really dope about this platform, aside from being the first woman-owned, Black-owned network, when you buy a subscription for $5 a month, half of the money goes back to the creators, y'all. Not a lot of platforms doing that. That's giving back to the creators, doing a 50-50 split with their creators. So make sure y'all support, listen to all the great content they got out there.
Hold on, leave it up. You know why you got to leave it up? Because guess what, man? We always talk about the boss lady out there, grinding, and we was up for an award last year. Well, guess what? Innovators Founders Award 2024. She won the award. Shout out to the boss lady. Won that award, 2024 Founders Innovator Award and all that, man. So shout out to her, man. She out there grinding, she out there working, man. And the platform is being recognized. And this is what we do it for. You know what I'm saying? For the culture, man. We on the move. Get your ass out the way of this train.
Absolutely, man. We definitely gotta tell y'all too. We also a top 5 podcast on the platform, man. It's because of y'all, man. So shout out to y'all once again, man. We really appreciate the love and support. You already know, man. With that being said,
let's start the show.
Let's get it going, man. First of all, this brother I've known for quite some time on LinkedIn, man. We've reached out, we've built a relationship, and I was honored to get him on, man, because his story is just simply incredible, y'all. So let's start from the top. While he maintained his DJ career, he put in law and business. Oh wait, hold on. Let's start from the top. As a club and concert DJ in Detroit. Now I'm like, hold up, it scrolled down. I'm like, what's going on? The other top. Oh, whoa.
Top. Whoa.
I don't like that.
It's a few tops. Up in there.
Hey, yo.
Hold on, Mario. I didn't like your tone. I did not.
Come on, hold on.
Hold on. A few times it was nasty. I forget.
Audio listeners, we're gonna begin from the very beginning.
Beginning, Martin. From the
beginning, y'all.
The word is beginning.
So this brother started out as a club and concert DJ in Detroit, performing on stages with Eminem, Beyoncé, Big Sean, Jay-Z, Snoop Dogg, and many others. He maintained his DJ career while he also put a law and business degree in practice as the owner of a digital marketing agency, helping clients create content, strategy, manage traffic, and convert sales. During COVID, that all changed. With the pandemic came an opportunity to use his talents to lift people's spirits. He started DJing using 2 virtual sets a week on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, allowing people to let their problems go for an hour and just enjoy the music. This lit the fire that allowed him to point him direction of offering his services as a DJ to major corporations for virtual events and in-person parties. And he's worked with some major brands, y'all, major brands in B2B all across the space and internationally. So let's introduce this brother, Martin Smith, aka DJ Graffiti, y'all. DJ, can you name drop some of the brands for them? Just name drop some of the brands for them that you worked with.
All right. Well, I mean, we're going to start from the beginning, right? We're not going to start from the top this time. You know what I'm saying? But first of all, I'm going to apologize for anything I might say. I'm from Detroit, from the Midwest, and we don't necessarily do it like y'all do out east, right? So I'm not thinking on every word that I say. So apologies on that. And also, I want to say condolences, Chadeo, to your family member. That's got to be said first. Condolences, prayers going out. And it can get rough sometimes. But to jump in, some of the folks that I've worked with, starting out, I became the go-to DJ for concerts in the Detroit area. So you might know, let's see who, Jay-Z, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, Fat Joe, Beyoncé, J. Cole, Jeezy. You know, some of those folks I opened up for and did concerts and shows for. And then ran my digital marketing agency for a while. And wait,
first period. I mean, you talking?
Okay. Let's get into the second period. Hold on.
Second period, you killing them.
So after that, ran a digital marketing agency, and honestly, I love working with small and medium-sized brands the most because you get to see the outcomes in real time. You really get to see the difference that you're making when you work. Yeah. But I know y'all want to hear the bigger names too. So T-Mobile, Coca-Cola, we ran all of social media for Mazda Canada, and I can run down a longer list of names. And then today, I consider myself once again to be a go-to DJ for corporate events and some of the brands that I work with. Tons of digital brands, but Amazon, Google, got Nike, Campbell's. I mean, a lot of different brands, right? So we'll get deeper into it. I don't want to, move too far into the story, but just know when big companies are doing their thing, and I'm not necessarily the person they go to when they want to have a club party. That's not where I'm trying to be. I will be in an auditorium on stage at 8 o'clock in the morning with all of their employees there, making it feel like we're in a club party. That's what I do.
Ooh, love that.
That's what it's about. It's bringing that music industry and the business together. And I found this a unique spot that not everybody else is there. It's my niche. That's where I'm at.
Fire, bro. Fire, bro. Now you're talking about, let's start from the beginning, bro. Like you grew up in the D, tell us about your experience there, how you start DJing. Grew up in the D. I didn't say that.
I'm just saying.
Grew up in the D.
I'm just saying.
Comments, put it in the chat. YouTube, holla at me, YouTube. He's reaching.
Like
He's reaching. He's trying to be Gary Payton. Gary Payton.
Did not like your tone on that. I'm not gonna.
He's Gary Payton.
No, I'm sorry.
Oh man! Wow.
All right. You grew up in Detroit.
There
we go. No, well, actually, I didn't grow up in Detroit. Shouts out to Detroit. Okay. I am definitely Detroit's own. I went to school in Detroit, but I grew up in a city just outside of Detroit called Oak Park. Okay. Right. And I went to school at a private school. It was a church school, actually. I mean, I feel like it might have been 30 students in there. It was dope, though. It was a church school. It had the church and the school at the same time. And so up until 6th grade, I went there. Then my parents moved out to the suburbs because they wanted me to have the quote unquote good schools. Right. And they were like, we're not going to pay for private school, but we want you to get the best education you can have. So let's move over here where the quote unquote good schools are. And that was West Bloomfield. And I went to middle school, high school there, then went to the University of Michigan after that. And I started DJing my sophomore year in college. I also started in marketing that same year. So all of that, those two things have been running parallel the whole time, right? The whole time I've been a marketer and a DJ. And it just was which one was at the forefront, which one was the main thing that I was focused on. But I've always been both. And that is what allowed me to do, to throw out all of those names, is because I always wasn't thinking just, oh, how can I just be the best DJ? It was like, how can I make the best presentation to help out? Like, basically, here, this is my first piece. I'm gonna try to drop as many gems as I can, because people have dropped them on me my whole life, and I want to share them as much as possible. And I know that you all drop nothing but game on the podcast, so I appreciate it.
It is. We getting you ready, man. We getting you ready. Let's go.
Hey, let's see. I'm all worried about what I'm gonna say. I was like, let's heat it up. Wait a minute. Hold up. That might be.
Don't be nervous, boy.
I got you. Nah, I got you. These are for short. You got this.
But yeah, what I always tried to do was figure out, okay, who is my real customer? Right? Because most DJs would think their real customer is the audience, right? I got to be the best DJ. I got to make sure the audience is on point. What I realized is like, no, it's the person who's paying me, right? So how can I create a better presentation for them, right? And so for me at the time, this was before social media was really super heavy. So I had an email list, and I built up an email list. And at the time, it was like 6,000 people in the Metro Detroit area, and then all around. It was like any fans from anywhere in the world, but the majority of them were in the Metro Detroit area. So you compare me to any other DJ, if I'm killing it on the turntables and I got 3,500 people in Metro Detroit who love music and dope hip hop, right? Of course I can get on a show and beat you out, right? It doesn't matter, because like we might both be about the same in terms of DJ level. You might be better than me, but they want to sell tickets, right? So I can get on the show, right? So that's why I'm always trying to figure out who's my real customer, right? And it may not be the obvious. And
you talking. We had to get you a screaming baby for that one.
You get the baby for that. We didn't mean to cut you off, Mom, but sometimes we can't speed past that gem that you drop, because I'm gonna be real with you. I've been doing music about 20 something years. I know hundreds of DJs. I've never ever heard anybody say that but you.
That's it.
Never heard nobody say, nah, the fan ain't the true customer. It's the motherfucker paying me. How'd I put on the bet? See, that's the difference between a lot of DJs DJ because they love the art of DJing. You see? The art of DJing. You took the artistry and the marketing. You see? Now that's the education part coming in. You took the education part and said, I love my artistry, but now let me put the business behind it, and then let me see what answer I come up with that. And that's super fucking dope, bro. Kudos to you for that, man.
Thank you.
I've never heard nobody. What about you, Jay? You ever heard somebody say that? I've never heard nobody say that.
I've only seen it one time in my corporate life, right? So we did an ERG thing at one of the companies I worked at. It was a Juneteenth special, and then we hired a DJ to come in. It was going to be an hour and a half. And he made it feel like the club. I can't think of the brother's name off the top of the head, but it was just one other person and yourself, bro, that I ever heard do that. And I thought it was dope. He was also another brother. So just to see that we're penetrating the market like that and be able to do stuff like that and think of other ways to monetize our artistry, that's the real lane, man. Like, I love that shit. And the brands that you work with, and it's hard because how do you quantify the ROI on that?
Yep.
Right. You know what I'm trying to say? You have to really put on a dope experience. It has to be word of mouth. Like the people, the employees, like, man, I felt great. This was really cool. I had a great experience. You need that word of mouth feedback in order to get the returning customer.
It's almost like he's doing an activation every time. You feel me?
Absolutely.
It's almost like he's doing an activation every single time. It's like
it is. I'm about creating. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Jump in. Go ahead.
I don't want to cut you off. I'm gonna say I'm about creating experiences.
Yeah,
right? I got to take people on a journey. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
So in the same way that I said you might have a different customer, for me, the outcome, the goal of it is different, right? I don't come into it saying, did I play some good music? Did I do a good job of DJing? And that's table stakes, right? If you're a DJ and you come in and you don't do a good job of DJing, if you don't connect with the audience, then you were a bad DJ, right? Like you shouldn't have gotten hired. But that's not, to me, that's not the outcome I'm going for. For me, when I know I've done a great job is when people start saying, I needed this. right? Like that's the outcome. That's how I know, I measure whether or not I really crushed it at an event, because they're going to be like, man, I've been caught up in it, and I'm doing corporate events, right? So everybody's stressed out. Everybody's trying to do more with less. Everybody's trying to work their way up the ladder. Everybody's dealing with like home and personal and work and all of this, and trying to make all of that happen. So when you just get a chance where you think you're going to something just to sit down and hear somebody talk at you on stage, and then somebody comes up and makes it feel like, oh man, I just felt like I just had a release and left the club. Don't press no buttons on.
Oh no. I was letting you out. I was letting you out.
I know.
Since we here. Since we there. We might as well cook the shit up.
Oh, listen. I want to ask you a question, right? Because I like to like really let the audience know. We try to give the audience a full experience on who the person is. We're also interviewing our guests, right? DJ Graffiti. Now we from the Bronx, right?
Home of hip hop.
Graffiti, home of hip. I live graffiti. You understand? You can see behind me. I got the art toys up and all. I did graffiti. I tagged and all that. Where did the name DJ Graffiti come from? I'm curious to know why you chose that name as a DJ name.
Yeah, so I always say this whenever I'm asked that question.
Yeah.
If I had it to do over again, I would have chosen a different name, because I never was a writer.
Come on,
right?
Man.
It's like I love it. It's the one thing, like, I would never change anything about where I am right now, because that created the circumstances and the place where I am today, right? But it's kind of big. Man. So like, all right, I'm from here. I apologize once and for all.
It's got to be very blatant.
I'm not doing it no more. I'm not apologizing. Y'all can just hit the button. I was gonna say. So I'm gonna just go ahead and say it.
Right.
It's kind of a big-headed thing for somebody to call themselves an art form, right? Like I just wouldn't do that knowing what I know now. You can't call yourself a whole art form, especially when you didn't participate in it. But because of that, I always tried to have, make decisions that only take graffiti and put it in the best possible light. Like, so if somebody was going, because a lot of times, especially in a corporate space, they see DJ Graffiti and they want to throw me in the mix with all kind of crazy stuff. And I'm like, no, wait a minute. This is an art form people lived and died for, and, and put their whole life into. So it's got to be somebody who's respected, who's coming with some real talent. And if I'm going to be linking up with them, so I can say, look at who that was, who put that work in, and let's shine a spotlight on them in their career. But to know where graffiti came from in my history, it actually came from MCing. I was MC Scholar, I think, back in the day. Yeah, I think it was MC Scholar. And then we were just freestyling, me and my crew, and I was like, I spray mentals like lyrical graffiti. And my boy was like, woo! He was like, that's dope, right? You should call yourself that. And so then I became Graffiti, the intellectual scholar. And then in time, I just dropped off everything else and just became Graffiti. And then when I started DJing, I just added the DJ to it. So that's how that all came together.
Fine. Then what would your name be? Well, I got a two-part. What would your name be if you could change it right now? I'm just curious.
I don't even know. I've never even thought about that. Right? It's
I thought you had one in the tuck. Like,
no. I didn't have another name. I'm just saying if I today, knowing what I know now about, it's kind of like somebody just being like, yeah. I mean, I think there's probably is somebody, but if I was just like, yeah, my name's Poetry. Right. It's just kind of like, man, that's too, how do you even live up to that? Right. Like that's a whole art form right there. Right. So that's why I would want to choose something different. Just so, and for one, I would never want to be seen as somebody who was trying to, play the culture or whatever, or play off the culture and get something from it without putting in something, right? I feel like it could be seen as culture vulture-ish, right? In a certain way where it's like, wait a minute, hold on. I mean, I've been getting up every day. I'm taking penitentiary chances to be out here painting on trains and stuff, and you just grabbing the name and don't have anything to do with it, right? So I always just wanted to have the most respect for it, but I've never, and nobody's ever given me anything and said you should change your name. That's not cool. You can't do that. Nobody ever gave me that, because I tried to always give that respect back.
No, right? That's real, bro. And another thing too.
Let's give him a message. That was super dope, bro.
And the second part is that I want to talk about the artistry, right? Like, So one thing that you said that stood out was knowing your audience, right? You knew your audience and you knew that you wanted to perfect the business of what you were doing, right? So the same thing goes into DJing, knowing your audience, what crowd you're in, what brand you're at, what the audience looks like, right? To create your set list. What does creating a set list look like when you got an Amazon? What does that look like for you? How do you create the perfect set list?
So that's a good question. For me, it's taken me, I've been doing this 25 years almost, right? So a lot of times now, I don't really create a set list in the same way, right? I create a crate of music, but I never know exactly what I'm going to play, and it can change in the middle of my set. That's one of the things that makes me unique too, is like, I don't just create a list of, okay, here's the 20 songs I'm going to play during this time, because I don't know how people are going to react, right? I can pick out some stuff that I think that they will feel and vibe with, but then if I start playing it and it's not connecting, then we need to go a different direction, right? So that's the great thing about having the technology and the computers that are all built into the system now, is that I got 50,000, 60,000 songs with me at all time, right? So we can go in any different direction, and I'm a musical chameleon when it comes to that. It's like, oh, you like this? Okay, cool, we can do that, right? Yo, you don't like this? Okay, let's go a whole different way, right? So I think that's not me saying that's better than anything else. It's just how I approach what I come to do, right? Because at a certain level, there's an artistry to DJing, and there's a certain where you sit down and you say, I want to paint a picture, right? And I want people to get my viewpoint, and I'm going to get that across in this set. So I'm going to pick these songs out, right? And I'm going to lay them out in a certain way, and that's my art, me delivering this to the people, right? That's one way of DJing. For me, because I know it's corporate, I don't know the audience I'm going to be in front of. It's not like I'm going to, a certain concert. Like if I go to the Talib Kweli concert, it's going to be probably some underground hip hop folks at the concert. So I kind of know what to pick out for that audience, right? Yep. When I go to Amazon, I have no idea who I'm going to get when I come in. Is it going to be, I kind of know the audience just because I've DJed there before, but it's a mixture of a lot of different pop type music, in terms of popular, just meaning the more popular songs, just so that they can connect and people kind of know what you're playing, right? Yeah. If you just went super underground with it, it may go over their heads. They may not know. It's going to be a handful of people who are like, oh, I can't believe you did that. So, but for me, it's probably like, I'm going to play a mixture of things across the years. So it'll have the Justin Timberlake and Michael Jackson and Usher and Chris Brown, like that type of vibe. So like, okay, cool. And then I got Rihanna, and then I got Beyonce, and then I probably got Taylor Swift, and I got, so I'm gonna probably pick up the biggest, most popular artists that you can think of. And then I'm like, all right, I got to get a couple gems in there for hip hop heads and folks. Okay. So then I can get the Jay-Z and the Snoop and and then I'm like, all right, I'm from Detroit, so I'm gonna have some Jay Dilla. I'm gonna sneak at least one Jay Dilla joint in there. So for people who really know about Detroit hip hop, or wait a minute, hold on, I got to have Aretha Franklin and Motown in there, so that's how I'm doing it. I'm trying to like pull bits and pieces to get different age groups in, and to get, people who really want to party versus sometimes people want to chill. It's like, okay, let's sneak a Sade joint in there, right? Like I'm all over the place with the music, and my career has been like that. I've grown up in lots of different places, right? So moving from the city and being in the city to being in the suburbs, and then coming to Ann Arbor, where the University of Michigan is, which is a melting pot of all different kinds of people. I took over a classic rock night for somebody else who had it. He was going out of town for, I think, a month or two traveling, and he was like, why don't you just jump on my night and play some sets there, and it's once a week. So I knew quite a few songs, but that allowed me to get that part of my catalog together. Then I DJ weddings for like Indian folks, and then they had some certain requests, and so I got that part of my playlist together. So I started learning about that. Then so it's kind of like every time I went to a different culture or a different place, I added that to what I'm able to do, so that now, after 25 years of that, you can just drop me in just about any audience, and I'm gonna figure out how to make it work.
Message. There it is.
Fine.
Again, once again, that's true artistry, though. You know what I'm saying, Martin? That's true artistry. Anything that you do repetitively, you get better at. That's just the answer. It does not matter what it is. Anything that you do repetitively, you get better at. Now you mix that with your willingness to learn and then say, you know what, I never did rock before, but you know what, I'm not afraid because I'm an artist. Let me try it. That will help excel you. I never did Indian music before. I don't know the culture, but let me try it. And that now, with your willingness to learn, compounds with your artistry, and it can only make you better. You understand what I'm saying? So, you know, you have to thank yourself for not being afraid, because a lot of people are afraid of change. A lot of people get caught in their niche and they don't want to move out, right? They're afraid to try different things, and that will limit their growth on what they can achieve and how good of an artist they can become in whatever field they're in, you know?
That's a fact.
Yeah, shout out to you on that. And remember, graffiti is also hip hop based. It's hip hop based, right? So you being a DJ and with your knowledge of now music and your respect for it, no, anybody that even gets a chance to listen to you or interact with you would never now say you're a culture vulture, because you're studying the culture.
Absolutely.
You see, you're studying and you're paying homage to the culture, and you're paying respect to the culture, and you're not trying to be something that you're not, right? So when somebody's being authentic like that, then you get what's called a core fan base. That's because we can believe in him because he's true to his word. You know what I'm saying? That's what we do.
But I would love you to paint the picture too, though, bro, because I would love to know what was one of your best moments DJing corporations, and what was one of the, I don't want to say worst, but what was one of the biggest lessons you learned from them? Maybe you didn't, you know, maybe one set bombed or something happened, the power went out. Like, what's one of those stories, bro, if you don't mind sharing both?
All right. So, man, I have so many moments that will fall into the best moments category. But the first one that comes into my mind, just because I think this was kind of my mama I made it moment, right, in the corporate space. Right. So I really didn't start doing corporate events until the pandemic. That's the important part. We should tell more of the story so I can kind of lay it out, because it gets deep. But I didn't start.
I had to throw that one in.
I was gonna let it rock. I let you rock on that, Martin.
I'm telling you. I let you. See, I might have to push the button over on my side. You're gonna let me rock? I don't know about that. But all right, okay.
Let's do it.
All right, now I forgot everything I was talking about.
But you said where we start from COVID.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't start bringing corporate events together. So I DJed plenty of events for brands prior to COVID in person. But what changed was that I almost was to the point of stopping DJing, right? And I can tell that story. But then COVID happened, and I was like, man, this is the only creative outlet I have. And the way it started to bring people together, shout out to folks like D Nice and Jazzy Jeff and everybody who were holding things down and really creating those spaces, and who laid the foundation. But I started to do that just like every other DJ. I was on Facebook and trying to be on Instagram, and we getting kicked off of there and playing music for people. But it was just lifting people's spirits and bringing people together in a way that, you know, nothing else was at that period of time, right? And so I had a couple of my clients that were from in-person events who said, can you do that for us? We see what you've been doing. And so I started to do virtual events for them. Now, before that, I never talked on the microphone. That's also something that I do now that really kind of separates me from most other DJs. Most DJs are introverts, right? If you know hip hop, the MCs are the extroverts. They grab the mic and get on there and do everything. DJs kind of just hang in the back, and we play the music, and usually we might make an announcement here and there, but it's rare. You know, in New York, out there, you have people who more so might talk a little more and add a little more personality to it. But for DJs in general, we just kind of hang back in the back. We play the music, right? And you may not even see us too much, right? We just gonna be in the back playing the music, right? Mm-hmm. But I started to add talking into it, and the public speaking piece and the DJing at the same time, right? So the pinnacle of that was I got to DJ Amazon's first event back from COVID, right? And they AWS, which is a company within Amazon, asked me back. So I went out to Seattle and DJed that in person, but then it was an all hands meeting. So that Amazon meeting went out and it was broadcasted live to over 100,000 Amazon employees, right? So that it hit different when you know I'm here with the top executives rocking in person. It was about 300 people in person. Because at that point it was that 2020? I feel like it was 2022, early 2022. So things had opened back up, but everybody was afraid of getting large groups of people together, because if somebody got COVID and everybody here is getting it and passing it around. So, but there was 300 people in person, and it went out, and I guess it wasn't all live, because they actually recorded it and showed it to people all over the world. So a lot of people saw it live, but then it was people in other time zones that were just watching it. And my whole social media was blowing up crazy because everybody was tagging me and hitting me up. So that was probably, that's the moment. And then I created a social media post on LinkedIn, and that's the most viral post I ever had, you know, because Amazon themselves commented, their company commented on my post, and it just went crazy. It went crazy. So that was probably, that's one of the best moments, right? But then I'd say the worst happened to me here recently, and even still, I feel like I'm answering a job interview. You know how they ask you a question on a job interview, like, what's your worst quality? And then you try to flip it, right? This is one of those things that's going to seem like that, but I'm really not doing that. I don't remember ever having a terrible event, and I've created it that way on purpose. But there was an event that I did. I won't name the client, but at the end of it, it's a well-known company, a well-known brand, and they're a tech company. But they've been around for, I don't know, they've been around forever. You would know the name as a household name, but Amazon only became a company in the 2000s, or were they in the late either late 90s or the early 2000s. The company started, right? Google, same thing, right? But I had started working with so many different tech companies like that only came about in the last 20 years, right? That usually most of the people working there are, you know, there's probably some people in their 20s. There's a lot of people there's maybe some people in their 50s. There's a lot of people in their 30s and 40s, right? 20s, 30s, 40s. That's like a lot of the tech companies that are out there. This company had a lot of people that were older and up in age, and I couldn't see them. I'm DJing virtually, and it was pre-recorded. So I had to just pick all the songs and put it together, right? And then I asked the client, I was like, you know, when you play the recorded mixes, if you can, because this is an in-person event, can you take pictures of it or video and just send it to me? I want to see how people receive it, right? As soon as I saw the video, 75% of the people in there had full heads of gray hair. I was like, oh man, you know, and it wasn't that what I did, it was bad. It just wasn't the right fit of music for that audience. Had I known who was going to be in that audience, right, and asked that question, I would have skewed the music back. It would have been probably a lot of 70s, 80s, maybe a sprinkling of 90s, and then a few newer records in there. But I mainly did, you know, like a lot of 90s, 2000s hits with a few oldies sprinkled in there, and it would have been flip-flop the other way around, right? So that's probably the worst event I did. And still, that client gave me a testimonial, said everything was great and people enjoyed it. I just know they might have been going crazy if I would have played the right music for that audience. It wasn't that I was playing stuff that they were like, oh, this is terrible. But also when I looked at that picture, nobody was looking at, they had me on this big LED screen in the front of the room, and nobody was looking at the screen. Everybody was just having conversations. And that's how I knew it wasn't the way, because I want, you know what I mean? I wanted to see somebody in there, and I know I could have, if it would have either been live or virtual, where I could see the chat and know how people were responding and reacting to the records, right? So yeah, I'll leave it there. But man, I could keep going on that. I just know, actually no, I got to put this in there. This is one of the gems to what I do. I reverse engineered successful events, right? I take song requests, which many DJs don't do. And the reason I take song requests is because if everybody there is telling me exactly what they want to hear, even if I don't play exactly what they asked for, I know what they want, right? So I can work off that. And especially when it's virtual, I can't see you, right? If I'm playing for a YouTube audience, if they're showing up and they already know who I am, then they know the vibe I'm going to bring, and that's why they showed up. For these people didn't ask, you know, the client asked me to be there, but the people who are showing up in the audience, they don't know who I am, right? They're not showing up for me. They're showing up for me to create the experience, right? So I need to know what they want so that I can create an experience that makes sense for them in that given point of time. So that's why I always want that feedback loop. And that's important, right? Whether either before, during, and definitely after, but you want to have feedback from your clients. You want to say, who's going to be involved in this? What does success look like when I get involved in this? All right. And then if you can do it during the actual delivery of whatever it is, your product or service, if you can get feedback, then is it going how you plan for it to go? How can we make adjustments and changes? Right? Can I make sure it gets right? And then after the fact, how did it go? Did we hit all your goals? Is there anything we could have done to make it better? Can we improve the process next time? Right? As long as you have those feedback loops built into the process, it's hard for you to have a bad event.
Message.
Whew.
Right.
That was real.
That was real.
You spin, bro.
Yeah.
Talk, bro.
Again, like that.
Talking that talk.
That's the business. That's the business mind, the business acumen coming into play.
Yeah.
He's leaving his pride over there. We're not. I don't care about the pride. What's the best possible way that I could deliver the best possible product? You see what I'm saying? And that's why his success rate is what it's been, right? Because he's not saying that I'm DJing for me. Well, this is what I like to hear. I know this. You can't tell me nothing, because I've now dealt with all of these other companies or had these successful events before. You know, DJing is very, very fickle. You know what I'm saying, Martin? That shit is like, it's almost like the championship. It's like, yeah, you won the championship last year, but this is a new season. It's a new season, 16 new teams. You understand what I'm saying? The trades done happen. You know what I mean? The draft done happen. What you gonna do this season? It's very fickle. So yes, you can live off your previous achievements and accomplishments, but every single time you hit that stage, it's like the championship. You know what I'm saying? You got to be on point, because like you said, there could be a moment where you're not in tune with what's going on, and if you can't pivot on that, see that and pivot and save the day, then you can absolutely have a terrible set and have somebody look at you like, okay, he wasn't what I thought he was, or he didn't live up to the hype, or whatever the case. You know. It's a bad transaction. You don't want that.
Yeah, man. Shit, but wait, another reason why, because we know a lot of DJs, bro.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of DJ friends, and none of them have been able to penetrate B2B market, B2B corporations, or B2C, or just brands in general, right? It's mostly clubs, things like that. You may open up for artists or two, things like that, right? What advice would you give to those DJs that are looking to break into B2B? Like, how does one get that break?
Hold on. Before you answer that, Robbie Rob does a lot of corporate events too. Shout out to Robbie Rob, man. He does Crunch Fitness and this and that. He does a lot of B2B brands and all that. Robbie Rob is one of the only DJs that I can attest to, that I see on a regular. He does this on a regular. He does like corporate events and stuff like that. They bring him on too.
But as he should. But you would think more DJs, even the bigger, like the Envies, Funk Flex, like a lot of the like Greg Street, like you don't see them in that. You know what I'm saying? You don't see them in that mix. You know what I'm saying? That's odd to me. But I was like, for those undergrad that can, we want to let them know this is a lane. If this is what you love to do, this is a possibility. So what advice would you give them to break into the space, bro?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there's two important pieces for me to it right now. One piece of it is, let's just take a step back before I get into that. I want to give shout out and props to all the DJs who might tune into this, right? I got to set things straight, right? Because for me, I have so much respect for the culture, and I know I choose certain things just because other people won't do them, right? And for me, it then becomes a challenge to figure out how to not be whack in doing that, right? So I'm not a jukebox, right? I create an experience, right? And in that experience, I take requests from the audience, right? That the difference is, I already told you, I don't pick out my whole set list in advance. That's what allows me to do that, right? It's a terrible vibe, and it's a terrible energy when somebody's coming up and you got the audience rocking, you're curating a certain experience, you playing certain songs and everything is, and then somebody coming up like, I know what you're doing is cool, but can you stop doing that? Nobody wants to hear this and play what I want to play. That's why DJs hate requests in general, right? That energy is way off. It's like you wouldn't come in somebody else's job and say, I know how to do what you do better than you do, so stop doing what you're doing and do what I want. Right? So first off, I want to just give a shout out and props to the DJs. And so many DJs that I know hear that I'm doing requests, and they almost have it's like they're angry, right? Just at the situation until they come and they participate in the event, and then they're like, wow, this is lit. It was crazy, right? It's not what I expected, right? I'm not just taking any request and just, oh, you want this? Okay, I'm putting this on. You want this? Okay, I'll play that song. I'm still curating the experience in such a way that whoever comes in, I got to make sure everybody has a good time. It's not just a mix up and a mashup of everything. So message record straight. But in terms of DJs coming in, wanting to get into corporate America, or not even America, corporate period, anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
The important piece is, first of all, I think it's that piece about knowing who your audience is, right? And you need to figure out what they need to get out of it, because the stakes are is just different, right? The goals of somebody in corporate America when they hire you is for them to not get fired, right? And it's what's the response going to be after I bring this person in, right? Am I going to look good, or are they going to be angry at me, right? And so too many entertainers, period, right? We get into our own ego and our personal bag where you're here to see me. This is what I do. Just let me do my thing. You know what I mean? And that type of energy doesn't really, it doesn't work in corporate, because they're not, yes, they want you to do your thing, but you have to realize that your goal is to make them look good. That's the first goal, Message.
Oh, shit, my fault. You got a double message. You got a shit and a message.
Right. So the goal then becomes, how can I prove ahead of time that I'm the person that you should hire to make sure you look good, right? That's what it's got to be. So a lot of times it's getting those first few gigs, and it might be people who can bring you in, right? And then getting those testimonials, and because they're more concerned about risks than they are about just hiring, the best talent. They're more concerned about what happens when things go wrong than just, oh yeah, let me just hire the biggest name or whatever. So that's really the most important piece there is, fine, maybe you volunteer to work for, just come into somebody's small team, and they got 15 people there in their company, but they're willing to, if you do a good job, they're willing to give you some good feedback that you can put on your website, put on your Instagram, right? Record a little video for you. And then when you're reaching out, then you can turn around from there and reach out to other companies that you think you might want to work with. That's the best leg up. That's
real.
All right.
Now you almost got it.
No, that's good. Leg up is fine.
The leg up is good.
I don't know. It's which leg are we talking about? But
the tone. Yeah.
Pause. He paused. I said pause, nigga.
In the spirit of WrestleMania.
Hey yo.
Hold on, see, we gave you the pass with the. You ain't have to elaborate.
I don't know. See, the thing is, I don't know which ones count and which ones didn't.
It was the one leg. It was the one leg, boy. We gave you the pass with the leg. It was the one leg. Too much inference on it. Too much inference.
The thing is, like, I came up. I remember. Yeah. So when I came up, we used to just crack jokes for the sake of cracking jokes. So I enjoy that, right? And I miss that. Sometimes now, to me at least, sometimes people get a little too sensitive and can't just take a joke. So I'm here. I'm here for it. Let's just have some fun. Make sure it's all positive. It's all love. But I'm here for cracking jokes always.
Yeah, no, listen, man. Here's the thing, right? Yeah. Here's the thing with our show. Information, no matter what information, no matter what culture, it can become monotonous if it's just question and answer, speak and response. So this is why we put the memes in and the videos in, just to break it up, just to keep the excitement going. Because like my cousin told you, we've had 4-hour podcast. You understand? I'm talking like no dead space. I'm talking like where nobody ran out of questions, nobody sitting there mums the word. We talking like 4 hours. The only way you do that is you have to make it exciting. You have to make it interesting. You got to get some good laughs on. And like you said, right, this is your first time on the show, but this is a safe space. So you don't got to worry about us taking nothing seriously here. You don't got to worry about, are you going to be politically correct here and stuff like that? Because we don't give a fuck about clickbait. We don't care about scandal. It's all positiveness over here. But sometimes things need to just be said the way they need to be said. Enough beating around the bush, right? Some things need to be said very directly and matter-of-factly, and that's it. So that's...
You got to listen to him. You can learn something.
Right. He's talking. That's all it is, but... once again, it's just a testament to the craft, right? We do podcasting. easily, right? Just to throw you a number easily, like there's something like 8 million podcasts in the United States alone. 8 million, right? So again, like a song, right? Like an artist, like a rapper, it doesn't matter, singer, right? How do you differentiate yourself in your craft? Same thing as you're doing, right? How do I do what we're doing? Like we might not be the best podcast numbers, whether how do you differentiate yourself from the rest and still stay true to your audience and still stay true to your craft and get your message across, right? So we're not doing anything different than what you did, right? We found our lane and kind of our niche and we modified and we move around with it. But we've created something that now is uniquely ours, right? And here's the thing, even with DJing, right? We understand that no matter what you do, no matter how much preparation, no matter how many times you've done it, you're never going to get a perfect set. You're never going to get everybody to like what you're doing. There's always going to be somebody with a difference of an opinion. That's art. Art is subjective. And that's fine, right? That's fine. But you do the best that you can and you please, you know, the masses, the most people you can, and you move forward. Use it as an experience, you build on it, and you move forward.
That's it, bro. But just piggyback on what you said, bro. It's creating that experience. Creating that experience and knowing your audience. Those are the two main gems, bro, that we apply to our podcast too, right? We know who we want to give it back to. We want to give it back to the people who may not necessarily speak to you, Martin, or DJ Graffiti. You know what I mean? They may not speak to you. They might. First of all, there's a brother probably listening to right now on Instagram or LinkedIn right now that didn't even know that was possible. Like, oh shit, I could do that. I've been in the crib like DJing all. I didn't know I can go to Amazon. I didn't know I could talk to Google. Like that's a thing. Now let me look into this. They may reach out to you. So that's what it's about, man. Like we have to, like, one thing we do is try to create transformative experiences regardless, right? Like, and that's why we're good in sales, right? I've done sales for 12 years, bro. One thing I know, I got to differentiate myself versus every other salesperson that's calling you today. That's how I'm going to get your business. It could be a joke. It could be something factual. It could be something, you know, going the extra round, my due diligence, whatever that case may be. I got to stand the hell out. Same thing with this, bro. And that is no difference. And then one thing, we're going to go into business. I'd love to segue into that, bro. Like the business of it. The toughest challenge for us when we started our business was understanding the pricing or creating your pricing, right? And with you, it's probably like, no, it's not too many examples that you can follow, right? So how did you get the pricing? You don't have to tell us what you're charging, but like, how did you get in the ballpark of what pricing? And what advice would you give to somebody trying to figure that out?
That is a great question. So, man, that's all over the place. I'm still figuring out pricing. It changes, right? It's supply and demand, right? So I can't say I've perfectly figured out pricing. I am grateful to be where I am, right? I'm in a good place, you know, but that being said, I still know I don't have it right? I'm still trying to figure out different things. So I don't mind sharing, you know, to a certain extent, because my price is my price, right? Like, and but when I first started, I was going with the prices that I used to charge pre-COVID, right? And so that was just it was usually some number of hundreds per hour, right? And then when I started doing the virtual events, I thought, well, it's less effort that I'm putting into this because I don't have to bring any equipment. You know, I'm just right here in my, you know, studio at the house, and I don't have to go anywhere, right? Like and so this should be cheaper. But then I had to think about it like, wait a minute, no. I mean, I'm impacting more people, right? Exactly. And guess what? Especially at that time, if anybody remembers, it was technical difficulties all the time on every event. Everybody, hold on, you on this day, you on mute. Oh man, hold on, wait a minute, the camera is going out. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, you know, it was always the audio doesn't sound right. It's an echo, right? So if you put the work in, I hope that where I am even right now in my office, I'm not even in my studio, but I try to have a decent microphone. I want to have a good camera. I want to have decent lighting and all of that, because to me, that's something that sets me apart from anybody else in the space who's doing it. And that's, you know, from a corporate perspective, right? I want to show up as though I belong there, right? So I need to price accordingly. So it changed. At some point, it changed from how much is it worth for me to, you know, put a certain amount of time in to what is the value of the service that I'm providing, right? And then that's where the you know, the pricing for how much it's worth might go from here, you know, like that's maybe like 20% of the total. The other 80% is the value you can create, because there's no limit to that price. Really, it's like, first of all, it can keep going up. And I'll say this, what I get paid to do what I do is in line with what famous people in the industry get paid to do what they do, right? And I wouldn't consider myself to be famous. I've created a space and a niche where people know me in the space, but you can go to my Instagram. It's a ghost town over there. I abandoned Instagram to come to LinkedIn because I'm doing corporate. Damn! And I'm working my way back there now, because it's not that no corporate people are on Instagram. It's just that all that's on LinkedIn is business, right? So it's like, if I'm gonna make my space where I need to stand out, I want to stand out in the place where everybody's talking about business and business events and marketing, and because that's where I fit in specifically. Now, if I go over here to Instagram, right, people are like, wait a minute, I don't know, he don't got, how much jewelry is he wearing, and how many people, what does it look like with the vibe at the club? A lot of times I'm DJing for people who finally got out the house. They got 2-3 kids and they finally got let out to go to the conference and they having fun. That doesn't look the same as, the bottles and models, right? Like that's not the environment. So I can't post that picture and compete with you on the sexiness of the club vibes, right? Like that's not, it's, the environment is off in that. We might be at the same spot in Miami, but like I said, it just doesn't look the same, but we still go in, we have some fun, right? And it's always a great time. So to answer your question, I haven't figured pricing out, but I will say what has happened is that my clients, actually, that's one thing that's different about corporate, is my clients have pulled me into higher pricing, right? Because they know what they're paying to other people that they have a harder time dealing with on the back end. They have a less, of an experience delivered to them, and they still got to pay this much. So they'll be like, I've had multiple clients be like, how much does it cost? This is how much. No. How much does it cost? And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm with you. and that doesn't really happen as much on, when you're in the industry, because in corporate, the people who are putting the events together don't need to make money off you. Right. Whereas if you're going to the club or a concert, they're making money off the ticket sales. Right. So they get to keep what's left over. In corporate, you don't get to keep what's left over. You have a budget and you try not to go over that budget, but whatever's left goes right back to the company. So
message. Ooh. But you hit on the same thing. The same people that's in the clubs should be thinking about the goddamn experience. The experience, instead of thinking about your margin is going to be, you'd have way more margin if you create a better transformative experience that make people want to go, that creates a word of mouth, right? You said you had an email list. That was something else that was super important, right? That first party data that you had, having access to those people, right? Like all of that shit is invaluable that a lot of DJs I know that aren't working on right now, man. That first party data is valuable. That's why companies like Salesforce are billion-dollar companies. Those are just big CRMs filled with companies' names, lists, emails, people's names, what departments, all that stuff. It's valuable. It's invaluable to grow your business, man. Like,
but you know what it is also. You know what it is, Martin. And before I get into this, I just want to say that based off of what you just said, a second or two ago, man, I'm just feeling like
you have my curiosity, but now you have my attention.
Because again, the business acumen is, here's a big difference. When you're going into, like you said, when you're going into corporate America, you're being paid a certain thing. You know that they're not making money off this, a certain, like you said, making money off of you per se, making money off tickets. It's the event. You see? Now, when you go into a club, a lounge, and you DJ, you're the main attraction, technically. See, the corporate event, let's just say Amazon, because you said Amazon. Amazon says, we're putting on this event. They're going to pack the room. It doesn't matter what DJ they have. It don't matter what refresh. They're going to pack it out based on their name. A lot of times when we're talking about entertainment versus like clubs and things of that nature, who the DJ is a lot of the times will determine if a person goes to that venue or not. Because if you don't like the way a DJ performs and what his set selection is, you will not go. So now, the DJ now understanding that the DJ now not only is the DJ, but he's the artist. You see, now when you look at yourself as I'm the artist now, it's all about me. Now that's where you get the differences in how people act and what people charge and how people go about the transformative experience. Because now if you're feeling like everybody came for me, I want to highlight me, I want to make me look good. And then a lot of club DJs and stuff, you know, the DJ is such a focal point. They know that if they bring more attention to themselves, it's the attention factor that they get also, not money-wise, but from the females that want to know who the DJ is and yo, who's the DJ? You understand? Like, let's not forget that also, right? Because there's a certain response that comes to whoever's rocking the party, right? Whether the MC, the DJ, the artist, right? Who did that? You know, it's like creating a mini celebrity, because the DJ in the club is like a mini celebrity, right? Everything is focused on you. So it's very important to understand the differences in that, right? So when you made the decision not to focus on Instagram, because you're saying that's not me right now, I don't care about any of those things, I care about the business side, and then you switched over to LinkedIn where technically all the business decisions are being made, that was a testament to you understanding that, right? And now, and it is what it is, not to say that a lot of venues don't pay DJs well, but I can guarantee you, I can say with an absolute certainty, because I know so many DJs, what you're making doing corporate events and what they're making DJing for regular 2-3 hour sessions is completely different.
Message. Yeah, I know that for a fact.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's why I'm saying, so, you know, I'm not going to put all my business out there, but I know I'm saying when you got DJs who are household names, right, we make the same amount. It's just that they're much more famous than I am, right? Like that's, you know, but mine is not based on, you know, how many followers I have or how much social media clout I have, right? It's not even based on how many people I can draw. It's based on the guarantee. It's like, it's not really guaranteed, but it's almost guaranteed that when you get me in there, right, you're going to have a certain outcome, right? So that's what they're paying for, right? It's insurance, right? It's like, I got to pay this much money to make sure that my event is not going to be boring. I know the level of energy that DJ Graffiti brings. I know the professionalism that he brings. I know he's going to rock, and people are going to have an amazing time, no matter who's in the audience, and it won't be the same, right? He's not going to come do the same set. It will be different every time, right? So all of that was intentional. I specifically sat down and said, okay, what are all the things that other DJs won't do, right, and don't do, and how can I do those things? Message.
It is.
Most DJs don't talk on the microphone like that. How can I talk on the microphone? And it's like, it wasn't just that. It's how can I do that and not have it be whack, right? That's the most important part, right? Because it's like anybody could just be like, oh man, nobody wants to play these songs. I'm gonna play these songs, but they're, you know, they don't play them because nobody wants to hear those songs. they mess up the vibe, right? But I'm saying, for me, here's the difference. At events, when especially virtual events created this for me, right? People will come in the chat when somebody asks for a song that no way in the world would I ever play it if I was in the club. I can't wait to play that at a corporate event, but I'm not gonna play it straight out. I'm gonna do something special and create a moment out of it, right? So if I'm playing, you know, R&B and hip hop and whatever and pop music and mixing it up, and then somebody comes in and is like, "Can you play some Metallica?" I'm like, "How in the world are you gonna ask for?" You know, like I can't make that work, right? But then I'm like, let me see. Like that's the great thing about, you know, I have certain songs that I might have a most popular 1 or 2 songs in my collection, or I can pull down a streaming site, a song from Tidal, and bring it up right now, and then just start cutting and scratching it over a different beat, right? Or take the acapella, you know. And so that's what I'm trying to do. So it's not gonna mess up the vibe of the party, but I'm gonna be like, I know everybody is out there is like, if he plays Metallica right now, I'm leaving, right? Like I know that's what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna show you how I get down, right? And then I'm cutting and scratching. I'm like, right? I'm cutting the guitars up, and then everybody's losing their mind. And so that's something that you will never get ever anywhere else, right? It's not gonna happen because no DJ, unless I mean, there was the mashup times where people were just trying to think of what's the craziest thing I could do to put together, and you had that. But in general, it might be a song that nobody is ever, no DJ in their right mind is going to try to fit that into a set with everything else they're playing. I want to make that work and make it special so that people are talking about that for days and weeks after the event. Right. So I sat down and said, all right, nobody wants to take requests. All right, I'm going to figure out how to make requests work. All right. Nobody wants to be talking on the mic really like that in that way. I'm going to figure out how to just have a conversation with everybody. Wow. You know, and I'm not sure how it is. I've definitely, when I go to New York, it's more, there's plenty more DJs that'll just like talk on the mic and drop a song in, talk on the mic and drop a song in. And that's just like Kid Capri. Shout out to Kid Capri. I've rocked several times with him. But he'll, you know, he's talking on the mic and getting everybody going and dropping it in. But it's a different kind of vibe. Me talking on the mic, I might be talking about marketing, right? We might be talking about sales strategy. And yet I'm dropping gems, you know, DJ mix, right? So that's something that not everybody else is going to be able to do. And that makes me a unique fit for a corporate audience, right? So I would just encourage, it has nothing to do with just DJing. Right. If you can look at the successful companies, people, brands in whatever you're trying to do, find out what the overlap is. What is it that they're all doing that makes them successful? Write those things down. Then say, what are all the things that they're not doing? Where's the space where nobody is really, you know, how can I make myself unique and special and stand out? Then figure out how to make that work. Make that your brand. Stand on that. That becomes different. So you want to do all the things that success calls for. You don't want to leave those out. So that's what I'm saying. I can't not be a dope DJ, right? I can't not rock the people. Like you got to do that. But if everybody says, oh, no, I'm not doing that. Oh, I don't want to play it. DJs and a lot of artists didn't want to mess with corporate because back in the day, it was like, oh, you sold out. You over there doing that corporate stuff, right? Like they just want to take the culture and tell you what you can do, right? Rather than you having your say. They always want to like put you in a box and hold you down and so on. And so that was the whole vibe when it came to corporate. It's changed up somewhat now just because more people are doing collabs with brands. And I also think in general, we used to, to get all the way to it, it was old white men running companies, right? And hip hop, on the hip hop music side, old white men were running companies, and it was young black people and brown people doing the music and the hip hop, right? So there was a disconnect at that point. But a lot of the people that are CEOs and executives and companies right now, whatever they look like, they grew up on hip hop. So it's not the same as it was back in the day where it was this butting heads of like, you know, that's not real music, right? That has kind of gone out of, it's gone now for the most part. You still get stuff going on, like you still got to navigate the waters. It can get choppy, but it's just a lot more friendly for artists and for anybody to keep their creative, you know, integrity intact and still be able to go over there and get money in a different type of way.
That's real, man. Have you ever had any strange requests or something like that, or is like what is the etiquette when you're DJing? What are the do nots in corporate, right? Like I'm coming from club DJing. What is something I absolutely cannot do when I DJ these corporate events?
One of the things that's important is for me, I play clean edits. You know, I don't unless requested otherwise. I'm just assuming that I'm supposed to play all clean music, right? And the other great part about it is I have a daughter that is 7 years old now, and so during, you know, over the past 5 years or so, I started thinking about would I really want my daughter listening to this, right? And then I was able to put a lot of music through that filter, and that helps because certain songs will be clean, but you still probably shouldn't play it, right?
I do it for the children.
But then also sometimes I would use that, so I would turn that and flip it because people would say, well, there's no way in the world you could play that song, right? Like one, for instance, was Cardi B's WAP, right? And then I'm like, okay, there's no way I should really be playing this record, but let me see how I can work it in. I'm not gonna play the lyrics, or I'm gonna do something, and you know, and then people lost their mind and went crazy because no way in the world do they think that was gonna come on at a corporate set, right? And so it's like, how can I play 20 seconds of this song and cut it and scratch it and not have it, you know, and have it be acceptable? So like, that's, to me, that's the fun part, is figuring out how I can make things work, right? But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think part of it is just knowing, it's just having in the back of your mind, who is my client, right? What's going to make them look good, right? Because my client is the event planner. My client is also whoever is cutting the check and giving the budget to the event planner. Those are the folks I'm thinking about, right? And so anytime I'm gonna say something, I say something on the microphone, play a certain song, get ready to do something, I'm always like, is this going to make them look good? Or at the end of the day, are they gonna be getting called into somebody's office like, look, why did you do this, right? Message. That's the filter that I put everything in. If it passes through that, then now we can just have a good time, right? Now we can just party, and I'm like, I want to stretch the limits. Like, I don't want to just be, you know,
I'm out. Hey, did you see that comment? Did you see that comment?
Oh no, I can't see the comments. What's going on the screen? Hold on.
Make Uncle Luke clean. If you can make an Uncle Luke song clean, you the GOAT.
Oh, I do. I have done it, but what? So, for instance, I played Scarred, but just the instrumental, right? I'll tell you, I'm not gonna make Uncle Luke clean, but I'll play the, and so everybody knows that doom 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 doom. Like, you know, when that starts to hit, or it's your birthday, I might just drop that part in and then go to something else, right? So it's like, how can you just get, you know, I'm not gonna play the whole song, but I'll figure out how can I work that song in, because I know so many people are like, yeah, this is cool and all, but he ain't, you know, he not doing it like it would really be at the club. And so then I'm like, I got you. You know what I mean? I'm gonna work in the Uncle Luke and then put something else over the top of it. Like, that would be the perfect time to put, you know, Uncle Luke with Stevie Wonder over the top of it. Right. And then the people be like, what in the world? He just mixed. And so the person who gets it is going to be the one who knows that's Uncle Luke and Stevie Wonder. Everybody else just going to be in there singing the Stevie Wonder and not even knowing what I'm doing. Right. Yeah. So it's like, how can you plant those little seeds to allow whoever it is to have a good time? And that's how I bring in different audiences. Right. To me, that's the flip flop of playing the Metallica record and scratching it over whatever else. Right. Because if it was, you know, everybody might not want to hear that record, but if I can put it over the top of something that I know is more popular for everybody, then we can make it work. So I'm yeah.
I want to say something real quick. This is one of my biggest pet peeves about our society, and like I said, some things just got to be said directly. All right, I hate the fact that, especially in the urban communities, when you don't have a high level of education, when your education, the information you have is super low, what you do is you revert to just saying shit that you heard other people say when you don't know what the fuck it even means. You understand what I'm saying? You don't even know what it means. You don't even understand what you're actually saying. You just said it because a bunch of other people said it and you want to sound cool. For example, people say, oh, we didn't think about corporate because that's selling out. Okay, let's talk about selling out. Let me get this straight. I'm a DJ. I'm an artist. My job is my artistry. This is what I'm using to feed my family. So what you're saying to me is this: I should grow as a DJ and be the best DJ possible to give you the best show? Yes or no? Oh, hell yeah, hell yeah. But you don't want me to take a corporate job, which would pay me probably 10x what I would get from the club, and show my versatility? I'm lost. How is that selling out if I'm still doing my artistry? I'm just showing you my versatility and still providing for my family. You understand what I'm saying? That's some of the most ignorant shit that the hood does to a person on a regular fucking basis. The hood has such limited information. They allow you, and I'm gonna say we allow, because I'm from the hood. We allow TV and radio and influences from people that, you know, we think are talking a good game when we don't even know truly what they're talking about, and we allow that to kind of influence how we treat each other, how we support each other, when really all we're doing is tearing each other down. You understand what I'm saying? Because guess what? For the same people that would say to you, and I'll put money on this shit, for the same people that would say, oh, you sold out, you crossed over, I go, okay, no problem. Guess what? Club Excess gonna give you, you know, for a 3-hour set, $500. They like, we lit, we get in the bag. Bet. Check it out. Amazon gonna cut you a check for $20,000 for 2 hours. I message any money in the world, they not turning down that 20 pack from Amazon. I guarantee you they not going to. Then it's going to be a bunch of excuses about why they took it. Oh, so it's okay when you took it, but it's not okay when I took it. So that's one of the biggest things that I want to get away from, that we have to get away from as a culture, is spreading misinformation and allowing that misinformation to actually put ceilings on our growth, right? You just introduced an entirely new lane, an entirely new revenue stream to, I want to say, 85% of the DJs that's ever going to hear this that didn't know that revenue stream existed.
Facts.
What are we talking about? So make up your fucking mind. Do you want to support your family? Are you going to use your artistry to support your family? Then if that's the case, then you should use your artistry across any medium that's going to allow you to show how versatile you are. You understand? That's what it is, right? So you got people that started off, guess what? Let's talk about it. You got like guys like these that started off doing graffiti, right? They started off Tats Crew and all these other crews, and the people that Sket One that designed a lot of these toys, and OG Slick, a lot of these guys might have started off doing graffiti. And then somebody said, yo, you draw very well. You do graffiti very well. Ever thought about doing murals? A mural could be in the hood, but a mural could be also somebody could pay you. A corporate sponsor could say, hey, could you do a mural of this for us? It's still a mural. We're going to pay you this. It doesn't have to be of a hip hop mural. A mural is a mural, right? And then you go further. And then you go further, and then they go, wow, your drawings are really good. You ever thought about turning your drawings into art collectible toys? There's a market for that. And they're like, wait, I could do that? And they go, absolutely. And not only can you do it, that's a fruitful revenue stream for you. So once again, this is what we're trying to do on this show. We're trying to open people's minds up to say, listen, man, you can have a talent and you can create several revenue streams from your talent. Stop boxing yourself in and thinking just because you're talented in an area that it's only one direction to get money from. Stop that shit, man.
So we got a question. We got a question too. Are there any events you would turn down, like a Trump rally or LGBTQ party?
There's definitely events that I would turn down, and that honestly goes right into what I was about to say anyway, right? So I'm right with you in terms of exactly what you said. We can't just be going off secondhand information that we heard from somebody else and thinking that's what it is, and not really thinking it through and making it make sense. Right? Because it's too much of the time we look at somebody else and we want to talk down and talk bad about them when it's something that we have never and would never try to do, or, you know, we don't know anything of the ins and outs of the situation. You know, you're just speaking on something you don't know. Right? For me personally, I think we all have to have integrity first. That's the most important thing that has to, because that comes with you wherever you go. Right. And that's why when I got to talking about graffiti, it's not that I'm concerned that somebody would look at me and think that I was a culture vulture. It's just my love for hip hop, the community that I came up in, that birthed me and raised me, right, to give me, I'm a DJ, right? I was an MC, right? So I have so much respect and so much love for hip hop and for the culture that I'm not willing to allow it to be painted in a certain light, right? And even if I don't play one rap song, I'm still a hip hop DJ. I got 2 turntables and a mixer, and the way I blend and cut and scratch and put music together is hip hop. Message. So yeah, for me, at my core, I got to keep that integrity no matter where it is. So I can and do turn down events if it's just not a fit for me, right? That's one thing we got to realize, is that not everything is right for you. You shouldn't be doing everything, right? And just because it's an opportunity in a bag doesn't mean you should say yes, right?
And talked about that. I'm with you. I don't want to cut you off, but we talked about that shit last episode and the episode before that. I'm gonna let you continue, but we can't, some things we can't speed past, and this is one of them. All fucking money is not good money. I'm gonna say it again. All money is not good money, right? And when we talking about you selling out, that's what that means. That's what selling out means. It don't mean because I'm a hip hop DJ and I normally do lounges and clubs and hip hop events that I sold out because I went corporate. That's not what selling out means. Selling out means going against your moral principle, against your moral compass, that a line that you said you set when you develop these core fan base of people that believed in your message, and then you going against that and doing something completely contrary to your beliefs and the message that you've been giving out for money. See, that's selling out. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I said we got to be very, very careful on what message that we're giving each other and how we're trying to hold each other accountable, because if we're not, then the misinformation tends to send the culture left. You understand what I'm saying? Go ahead, D.
Yep. No, I mean, I'm right with you. I'm
Yeah,
right
you
with you. Exactly. I'm going to take it to a different place. So one of the things that changed my life was really mindset, right?
Okay.
And realizing what I was thinking, how I was talking to myself, you know, how I even think about myself in certain spaces. Like, what am I capable of, right? How do I think about that? How do I feel when it's like, am I right to be here doing this? Should I be, you know, the way that you talk to yourself you have to work on that, because it's not normal. A lot of times from when we're born, we're told, no, you can't do that. No, don't do that. No, like, don't, you know, it's like, that's how you raise a child. Don't touch that. It's hot. No, don't go over there. No, wait, hold up. We don't do that. Right. Like, so you need to figure out how much baggage did you bring with you to the table right now that you still carry around, and it's somebody else's stuff. Right? It's not even something that you created or that you believe, but it's something that somebody else put on you, and you just carrying it around with you and continuing it. But so I'm going to step into, in terms of talking about money and what events I accept and what I will do and what I won't do. I don't even look at it as though it's a positive and a negative thing. I mean, that definitely is, you know, that is a thing, right? If somebody's going to ask me to do something that goes against my morals and I'm not down with it, then I need to turn it down, right? Like, that's a positive or negative for me. But that's not to say that's not an amazing event for somebody else. So I don't look at it that way. I choose to look at it as though there are certain events that are for me, and every event that's not for me is somebody else's event. So I'm doing a disservice to them by taking their events. If, even though it's money there and they might be willing to pay my fee, if I know I'm not the right fit for that event, I need to turn it down.
You gotta listen to him. You can learn something.
The crazy part about it is you create your own reality in the space, right? Meaning when you start saying yes to certain things, you're going to get more of what you said yes to. If you're doing a good job, right? If you took a certain client on and you crushed it for that client, even though you know you didn't really want to work with them, it wasn't a good fit, you know, either whether it was morally, whether, you know, that's just not the type of client you want to be working with, right? It's just not right for you, but you take them on and you do a good job. What is going to happen? You're going to get referrals. Other people will see the work and they're going to come to you saying, I want what you did for them, right? So I don't care. It's not so much about me like scraping everything and being like, wait a minute, hold up. But it's not so much me filtering it to say, hold on, is this against my morals all the time? If it is, I'm just not down with that anyway. But I would hope that the way that I show up attracts the people to me that are in alignment with who I am, right? But beyond that, it's more so about, I don't DJ weddings anymore, not because I don't like DJing weddings. I'm a corporate events DJ, right? So for me, if I start taking clubs and concerts again now, that's diluting my brand.
For sure.
Right? Because now I'm not the go-to for corporate events anymore. I'm the guy who will do whatever, right? And that's
there you go.
That's not what I'm going after. I'm not trying to be everybody's DJ. I want to be the go-to, the top paid, the best known, the dopest, the most experienced, the most, you know, bulletproof in terms of like, you put me in that situation, you know, I'm gonna shine every time, right? That's what I want to be known as. And if I'm on social media and posting up, oh, I was at a wedding this past weekend, oh, I just DJ'd this club, oh, I did a festival, and then I get around to a corporate event, then it's like, you don't really know, am I the corporate event guy, or I'm just you know, I'm just a DJ, a general all-purpose DJ, right? There's nothing being wrong with that. It's just you got to choose who you want to be, right? It's okay to be whatever you want to be. You just need to make up your mind and then focus in on it. However, if you, I always say, niche down to scale up, right? I didn't make that up. I say it because I heard that from somebody else. I definitely didn't make that up, but I'm not trying to take credit. stuff that everybody says and knows, and this is just a general fact. But yeah, it's like when you focus on one very specific space, then you can be the number one in that space. I'm not saying I'm the number one person who DJs for corporations, but I haven't found too many other people who they put on an auditorium stage who have mixed public speaking with DJing and do it in a way that's interactive with the audience every time, right? Like that's what I'm number one at.
Message.
We gonna say you number one right now. Fuck that. We gonna say it for you.
I am because I'm one of one. So I have to be number one. I was number one when I started. You know what I mean? It's like I had no choice but to be number one because I created the space and nobody else is in the space but me, right? So if somebody else comes along, they got to be my protege. That's the only space. You know what I mean? Like that's
talking shit, bro. Talking shit. Talking shit. But we talking about a good question too, bro. Now we're talking about branding, right? You're talking about how you're using LinkedIn in order to generate your leads. Like, what is your strategy for LinkedIn to generate those leads to get those corporations to come knocking on your door? Is it mostly referral based or is it mostly content based?
It's a mixture of all of that, right?
Okay.
So if you know retargeting ads, I use LinkedIn as a retargeting platform. So for those who don't know, retargeting are the ads that you see on the internet that follow you all around after you go to a certain shopping site. So you go somewhere, you look at a certain pair of shoes, and now you see ads for that everywhere, no matter where you go, right? That is a strategy that advertisers use to make sure, okay, great, you didn't buy this time, but if I stay in contact with you over time, then in a matter of time, you're going to buy, right? I'm going to keep paying for it and keep showing up and finding you. And if you don't buy this one, I'll probably show you several other shoes or shirts or whatever it is like this one. And then you will buy something. Because how do I know? Because if you were already interested in it and you came to my website, right, then you are much more likely to be somebody who might purchase, right? So I use LinkedIn the same way. I will go out and connect and build relationships with anybody who, well, for one, it's if they are in my target market, I want to build a relationship with them. I'm not trying to sell them anything out of the gate, right? I'm not connecting with somebody and then coming up with a pitch like, hey, you need to hire me for X, Y, unless I'll do that if there's a very specific event that I'm trying to get access to, right? I know they got a big conference coming up and I really want to be a part of it. But even then, I probably won't be like, hey, you should hire me for your such and such. I'll say, I've seen this event and it's amazing, right? Every year, like I've been keeping my eye on it and you all are doing great things, right? I really just wanted to connect with you and give you your props on that. I would love to get more information. Is there somebody I should talk to, and just leave it there. I'm not hard selling anybody on anything that I'm doing. But what I do is once I've made that connection and once they see I'm not pitching anything to them, they're more likely to open up and just have a conversation. Let's just, we just talking about general things like, what do you do? So usually I'm probably looking for people that are in event planning roles or, excuse me, certain executive roles where I know that they're the ones throwing events. So if I want to do a sales event, let me find the VP of sales or the manager or director in a sales department, because that would be a good person to have a conversation with. Just in general, right? Because a lot of times for me, and the reason I said retargeting is because that's the mindset that I have about LinkedIn. Once you connect with me, you're now going to see my content showing up when you come on the platform, just like those ads that follow people all around the internet. So I'm trying to create the type of content that makes those people say, oh man, wow, he's doing a really dope thing. We need to have him at this event. So I want them to see, oh, I just worked with this company. I just got a testimonial over here. I got a thought leadership piece about how people should be approaching these types of events, right? So I'm putting the proof in front of them so that by the time we do have a conversation about it, usually they're coming to me to say, hey, I've been seeing what you've been doing. And I've been watching you on LinkedIn for the last half a year and you really are crushing it. Are you available on this day? Right? Like that's how I approach it.
Yeah, I had something similar, bro, but I just didn't do retargeting ads. So how I approached LinkedIn was the same way. We're like, we have a course on it. Matter of fact, hold on, I got to do it because this only makes sense.
We got to pay some bills. We'll be right back.
Because we got a whole course that says how to build relationships and revenue. You know what I'm saying? So those who are listening and you want to know how to generate leads like Martin or ourselves, and you want to build your personal brand, make sure y'all scan the QR code. It will take you to otbdigital.com. It's a 2-hour course on how the algorithm works, what content you should create, how to DM somebody, you know, how to make the ask, all of those things, and really just how to build the relationship, right? Because you cannot get the revenue without the relationship, man. That's what we preach and harp on all the day, every day here. But what my approach was, I had a 10-step process, 10 touches. I had to take 10 touches for me to make anything, or even me for even to ask you for the call. So say, for instance, we connect on it. We connect on LinkedIn, Martin. I made you over there. Hey, Martin, yo, appreciate you connecting with me, man. Really good to meet you, man. And I would flip it, right? So I'm a sales guy. Don't worry, no sales pitch coming through it. You good. You know what I'm saying? And we'll have a laugh about that. That's one touch. Now I'm going to see a post, right? I'm going to do something on your post. I'm going to celebrate it, do something like that, add a comment. That's touch number 2, right? I might have 10 touches in the span of 3 weeks, but by that 3 weeks time, I'm constantly popping up on you. I'm being seen in your feed. I'm fucking in your comments, right? I might send you an article randomly. Like, yo, I saw you was in here. Yo, this is really dope, man. Keep going. Keep shining and grinding. No touch. And then by the 10th touch, depending on how the vibe is, I'm actually, why are we doing this? Why don't we just meet? You know what I mean? What are we doing here? I feel like I know you, but don't know you. And then we get on the conversation, and then it builds from there. So it's all about those relationships. So I'm glad that you said you did a retargeting. Like, it was so much fucking difficult doing it organically and keeping up with all that shit. But then you just basically plant a bunch of seeds everywhere.
Yeah.
So let me clear it up though, because I didn't actually run retargeting ads.
Oh, you didn't run it? Okay, that's where. Okay, got you.
As a retargeting strategy, right?
That's so high CPM. Man, when you said that, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, no, definitely it costs. So
yeah,
with retargeting, it's okay. I know you're interested, so I'm going to keep showing you more stuff until you buy. Right?
Gotcha.
I'm saying that's how I'm approaching LinkedIn. Is I know you're a person who's in my target market. So I'm going to try and connect with you just to build a relationship. I'm not selling you anything. But then once I connect with you, now I'm going to see your content in my feed and vice versa. Right. So then I'm thinking about, and here's for me, the real gem is reverse engineering the steps that people need to go through before they will buy from you. What are the questions they need to have answered? What are the things they need to know about you? What are the things they need to believe about you before they'll buy? That's how you create your content. So remember, I said risk is important in reducing the risk. So if they're seeing me DJ for all of these other companies like them, that removes some of the risk, takes that off the table. Then they want to know, well, I've worked with other brands and DJs, and I'm kind of concerned. He's a hip hop DJ. So is he going to be playing clean music? So I'll probably have a testimonial about how the experience was and how it was a perfect fit for the brand. So now that's popping up in my feed. And then they're like, well, can't I just hire any DJ? Right. And then I'm going to have a piece that I wrote up, a little, think piece. And I'm talking about how I'm different and how I'm in a specialized area and providing XYZ and how I'm creating experiences that nobody's seen before. And then what happens is I'm not only connected to just people who are, people that might hire me. There's all kind of people who have been at my events who I'm connected with, fans and whatever, and people who have worked with me in the past who show up in the comments and like, you're the best, yo, you always bring it, da 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 da. And so like all of that to somebody else who I'm connected with on LinkedIn, seeing that's like, everybody, they don't believe what you say, right? They want to believe what people like them say, right? So I'm environment where if they're following me, all they do is get hit by more and more information that are the things I know they need to know and believe for them to want to work with me. Right. So I create that. I just reverse engineer it and create it with content.
Yeah, pre-qualifying them with content, answering the question before they ask, and when they come through, they're already ready to buy.
Yeah.
That's marketing 101, y'all. That was gold.
I got a question for you. And this is something that we're going to talk about when we do our link. We're actually doing a LinkedIn event. Just so you know, too bad you're not in New York, man, because we would have loved for you to pull up, man. We're actually doing a LinkedIn event live on the 25th from LinkedIn headquarters down at the Empire State Building. Yeah, so we would have loved for you to pull up to that if you were here in New York. But we're talking ownership, right? So now that you're in the corporate space, we understand the artistry, but you know what we have to also let the listeners know is the business side of it. Now you're signing these contracts to do work with these businesses, right? You don't have to get, you know, into specifics, but one of the most important thing is ownership. So when you're doing these events, are you signing off? What does your contract look like? Are you signing off and saying, okay, I'm going to do my set, and once I do my set, you have the complete ownership of, you know, the set and the music and the content? Or are you kind of doing like licensing deals, like, okay, you can play it, but I kind of get like a little bit on the back end? What are some of the like more strategic things that you want to see inside of a contract, or you would tell a person that want to enter this space to look for or put in place in their contract to ensure that they can maximize dealing with these corporate people that want to hire you?
Yeah, so for me, I'm trying to have the most simple contract as possible, right? I'm in a certain place where it's not my music, right? So already the copyrights of the music that I'm playing is owned by somebody else. Corporate, this is you just got me giving up all of everything right now. Okay, but the certain space of corporate where I am, most companies have what's called a blanket license in place internally, which means they pay per employee for the ability to play songs. And that covers a lot of things like hold music on the phone when they have their company parties, or they just happen to have an event and internally they're going to play a certain song, right? That's all covered by the blanket license. If it was going to be a public broadcast, that's different. You got to go and get special licensing for that from a music perspective, right?
Right.
And so that's one of the reasons why I love internal corporate events, because I don't have to deal with those things, which if you had a festival or something, like you got to have all kind of different, and it costs more and you have to set it up every time or whatever. I don't have to deal with that as much. Okay. But that being said, me being the type of DJ that I am, I show up and it's new and different every single time. It's also for that particular audience, right? It's like, it's unique every time for that audience. I'm interacting with them during the course of the event. So that, for that reason, it's rare. Some companies I know have done it, right? But it's rare for them to, and like, I don't want to get too deep into the weeds, but the point that I'm trying to make is they usually only use that content once, right? It's very personalized. It's me talking back and forth. Now they could play it back, but, and I went to law school after going to business school, right? So I understand this piece. I never practiced law. I know enough to not get myself in trouble, right? Like that's how I like to say it. But from a contract place, once you record something and then play it back, that falls under, that's not a blanket license. That doesn't fall under a blanket license. Is stuff that's just happening live and spontaneously. Once you start recording and playing stuff back, now that's somebody's royalties that you're stepping on, right? Like, because if they just put it up on the company, you know, internal website where you can just come watch it whenever you want to, you should be paying royalty payments every time those songs play. That kind of protects me somewhat from them continuously using it, unless, because they're not going to pay those royalties, so they rather just come hire me again. It might end up being cheaper and less difficult. But from a contract standpoint, I had originally a 2-page contract that I would send out to my clients, and most of them just sign it, right? I try to make sure that there's it covers, it's a fair contract. It kind of covers both sides. There's some basic stuff in there that just makes, you know, this is a contract. They know I'm going to show up when I say I'm going to show up. And if I don't, right, I'm breaking our contract, and vice versa. They're going to pay me what they say they're going to pay me, or they're breaking our contract. Beyond that, it's the type of environment where like they know I want them to win and vice versa, right? So that it's not an animosity kind of thing. It's like I'm showing up to make sure they get what they're supposed to get, because it's going to ruin my reputation if they don't. And it's going to ruin their reputation if I don't come bring what I'm supposed to bring. So I don't put a whole lot of stuff in contracts. Sometimes the companies they'll revise the contract and send me back like 12 pages and when I only had 2, and try to put all their things in. But literally in all of the years, I've never had an issue with a contract where I've never had an issue where a company at this level doesn't pay me. And I've also never had an issue where somebody was like really pushing back after the fact and was like, wait a minute, this was how the contract was. It's just never happened. So for me, I'm okay with just a general protection, you know, not going.
Martin, that's the other podcast. They
Other
always
podcast,
do this
Martin.
shit.
See, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, once again.
They always do this shit.
Martin, whenever the other podcasts here,
they going back to back. Fuck.
Like, fuck. See, you start talking about the corporate, you start talking about the money in the contracts. They trying to call us now. Listen, you want him on your show, you got to reach out yourself. We're not giving you the plug. He's not leaving our show to come to your show. You already know better than we don't know why you keep doing this all the time.
Every time we get a good clip.
Every time. Let me tell you the reason that I asked that, Martin. Because once again, we talk artistry, but we must talk business acumen. Right? We must talk education. We must talk contracts in general, because you're dealing with a business. You're not dealing with a person. It's not a verbal commitment. When you deal with most promoters, yes, they can put things in writing, but a lot of times most promoters is a verbal commitment, right? Yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to do that, da-da-da. You show up, they pay you. That's what it is. But when you're dealing with businesses want to protect themselves. They want to protect their brand, their integrity, etc. So you're dealing with contracts. So it's important to know from both sides, right? What should be in the contract to protect you as the artist, you as the performer, them as the business. And if you don't understand it, like, so everybody that's listening, right? If Martin said that he went to business school and then law school, so he doesn't practice law, but he knows enough to read a standard contract and know enough not to get himself in trouble. So for anybody out there, yes, it might cost you a little bit more. It might cut into what you consider to be your profits. But if you send them a 2-page contract and a company sends you back a 12-page contract, then you might want to hire a lawyer for a one-time fee to do what's called contract review. It's a one-time fee. They will talk to you about what you need and what you want, and they'll read the contract and highlight points and say, well, this is why you should sign it, and I think you should change this and that. Yes, it's a little bit of money, but in the end, it will protect you, because now you're going into the business. And if you don't understand business, you can put yourself in a very bad position.
Message. That's all right. Let's give up some game real quick. So not to put any lawyers out of business, right?
Wait. We're giving up game. Hold on.
It's going that way anyway. So Chat GPT, right? AI is a great place for contract review, right? Okay. And so not to say don't go to an attorney, just throw it in Chat GPT, because you may not know what you don't know and you still end up getting messed over. But for anything like contracts, right, where it's about what information needs to go in there and knowing all the different details, in many instances, Chat GPT is going to do a better job than an attorney will at giving you a first draft and giving you what you need to know. So you take the text from that contract, you put it in, and then you type, what are the things that I should be concerned about in this contract? Are there any clauses in here that I am the person signing this contract? Is there anything in here I should be worried about? What's not in here that should be in here to protect me? Right? Like, so you tell it who you are, the specific role you have, and then it will come back and then just spit out. If you ever did hit, it's just like it does. It'll spit out all the things that you need to be concerned about. It'll say, this clause right here is very, it's favorable to them and not to you. You might want to be concerned there. And ChatGPT. So from what this is secondhand. So don't take this from me. This is not legal advice. I am not your lawyer, right? So don't act on that and be like, well, he told me just use ChatGPT. I don't even need a lawyer. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm trying to tell you is, like, you might read over something and think it's okay, but you don't really know what that word and that sentence really means when it comes to from a legal perspective. You can put that in there and just get a general idea of what's in here. Is this something that I should be signing? Is this something I should be concerned about? If it's raising red flags, you definitely better go get a lawyer, right?
Hate it.
So yeah, in general though, for me, like, and this is the part that I was going to say before, I've heard, and this, I haven't done this myself, but that if you have a contract, you can actually ask ChatGPT to create a contract for you for the specific scenario, and then it will spit out something that 9 times out of 10, you take it to a lawyer to have it reviewed, and they're like, yeah, I don't really have any changes, right? Like, that's the place where I've heard people have saved money, because if you go to a lawyer and say, create me something from scratch, right? Like now, I mean, they already got a template anyway. They got a series of
Exactly.
templates that they use to piece it together and create what you need. But it's a lot easier for them to just review something that you hand to them and take a half hour than to say whatever they're going to charge you to put the whole contract together from scratch, and and listen to all your needs and so on and so forth. So that's something I think that the industry is going at. It's kind of like the turbo tax for the average person. You don't really need to go get, if you got more complex stuff going, but if you get a W-2 and then you just gonna pay taxes on it, you can just go to turbo tax or whatever and just run it through there, and you usually you'll be good. Right now, when you got all kind of different investments and all that kind of different stuff coming and going in 2-3 different revenue streams, it can be different. So yeah, I hope that's helpful to somebody, but I'm using that for marketing stuff. It's really, I think about it like an assistant or a mentor. Sometimes, like any question you might ask a mentor, you can go to ChatGPT and say, act as if you are this person. You have this many number of years of experience in this industry. You know all the ins and outs of this. Now, based on that, tell me what I need to know about this situation, right? And then it'll spit you some information back out that'll be useful.
Yeah, it is, man. And that's the use of technology. That's the use of technology in aiding you in your hustle, in your grind, if your resources are limited, right? Because we all know in this day and age, a lot of people want to be successful, man. And a lot of people are striving to try to find their own lane and their own niche and build something. But one of the biggest issues that we face as a culture is our limited amount of resources, right? The resources available to us. So if we're talking about something free like a ChatGPT or some type of AI tool, that can be actually a game changer, right? For people, right? To help, at least, like you said, it might not get you 100% of the way, but if it can walk you 80-85% of the way, then all you need is refinement. And the cost of refinement obviously is way less than the cost of actual total creation. So that's a powerful gem right there. And I'm gonna be honest, I've never even thought about it in that term to ask ChatGPT, just because I've been dealing with lawyers for so long. Because also for me personally, I like the human aspect for certain things. Let's just be clear. I'm not saying that AI, artificial intelligence, and robots and blah, blah, blah can't do certain jobs and do them well, but nothing replaces the human aspect. You understand what I'm saying? And ChatGPT, it doesn't have any emotion. It doesn't have any empathy. It doesn't really truly understand your situation. You understand? So sometimes in instances where you like, I don't want to do this, I want to do that, but here's my situation, then a lawyer, a human being, can understand that and say, okay, well, let's try to put in this kind of language. You understand what I'm saying? Or maybe you should go this route. And, so there's pros and cons to everything. Yeah. I just want to say, if you're going to use if you're going to use DJ Graffiti's information, that's fine. Do your due diligence, right? Yeah. Don't take his word for what he just said. He doesn't use it himself. He heard it word of mouth, but he gave you a gem, right? So now it's up to you to do your due diligence. If you've never used ChatGPT, then don't try to put a fucking contract in, right? Go to ChatGPT first. Learn the commands. Learn how to get familiar with the system first, how it works, how the interface is, and then start to do things with it so that you become, familiar with it yourself. Don't just jump in and say, well, DJ Graffiti, more than the title, they said use ChatGPT, and then listen.
Nah.
The opinions and thoughts on this show.
But that ass.
Hours and hours alone. Do not anybody else.
If that resonated, if that seems like it might be something that would be useful for you, the next step is to learn how to use ChatGPT. That's the problem, right? So people think it's just going to come through and just save the day and do everything for you. It's not. What you get out of it is based on what you put into it, right? It's like the thing that happened to me back in the day when I'm talking about taxes is I was always looking for that good accountant. You know what I mean? Like when you're a business owner, you're always looking for that good accountant, meaning you want somebody who's going to have their I's dotted and their T's crossed, but you also want somebody who's looking for opportunities to save you money and do things that are not illegal, but they're going to make sure these extra special ways to get certain, to save money.
Deductions is the word you're looking for. Deductions.
As much money in your pocket as you can, and do it in a way that's not jeopardizing you, putting you in jail some type of way. That's a great accountant, right? I went and found an accountant that worked for a business and had been doing accounting for I don't know how many years. And I sat down with her, and then she pulled up TurboTax and filled it in. And I was like, man, I finally thought I had this was 15 years ago. I finally got the good accountant, right? She gonna know all the stuff. And then she filled out TurboTax, and then I was kind of like, I didn't go back to her because I'm like, what do I need you for?
Hell no. No.
I'm sorry.
But the thing is, like, what happened in that situation, what I realized is the reason even the good accountants you go to, they have a software that they use internally that may not be TurboTax. It's an industry software that asks all the questions so that they can check with you and because no one person is going to remember all the things they need to ask to look for every single little tax write-off that you can get, right? And so, you know, having a machine help you out with that, that's what ChatGPT is. So don't just go to it, say like, write me a contract, it spits something out and you just go use it. But the more that you learn, you may get to a point where you might be able to revise something that you already got. Exactly. Be like, I want to put one more paragraph in because this is a special thing. And it may be able to spit that out because you'll know, oh, okay, I already got this contract. I just want to add a piece to it that says I'm going to be doing 3-day event instead of the 1-day event that I originally did. Is there anything more I need to know about that? Right. Exactly. It's going to look at all the contracts that it finds throughout all of the internet, all the books it's read. It's got all the information is in there. So it probably knows how to do it better than your attorney does. That's the crazy part, right? That's where things are going to. But I don't look at that as though it's replacing the people, right? What's going to happen, Chad, just like you said, the people are going to be doing the things that the people need to do, and the machines will do the things that the machines need to do, right? So we can go to the person to when they need to sit down and think about emotions and feelings and how this is going to affect your family and so on and so forth. I don't want the machine doing that. I want a person who can think through that. But then all of the stuff in terms of just making sure that the steps are right in the contract, like that's where you go to ChatGPT, and that's for marketing, that's for law, that's going to be for a whole lot of things, right? It's just going to change the world in that way.
It should be, but I was going to say it should, but ChatGPT should be a North Star. That's it. It's for optimization and efficiency, right? Even if it could get you 80% of the way there, that's what we should be looking at. A lot of people look at it as the end all be all. They put something in, copy, paste, like it's just the North Star, y'all. Okay. Because it's all about the information that's inputted into the thing. That's right. It takes the information input and we can get the bias and all that other shit.
I know our culture and I know how y'all think. I'm telling y'all right now. If I see 15, 2,500 new tax places open up, all you motherfuckers doing the TurboTax is not the answer either. I know you motherfuckers out there. You motherfuckers said TurboTax. His accountant is using. I'm telling you right now. I do not want to see 1,500,000 new fucking tax places pop up.
It'd be like this when the IRS on your ass. The IRS on your ass.
You gonna get motherfuckers audited. You gonna get motherfuckers arrested. PPP loan scam. I don't want to see motherfucking Swagos, motherfucking tax preparations. I don't want to see no blood and Crip tax services open up. Latin King taxes.
Reggie and John's tax. Reggie
number man taxes. Yeah.
The brother man, not the other man.
The other man. I'm telling you, right? You gonna get people locked. You gonna go to fucking jail. You gonna go to fed jail. Leave that shit alone. Let you know. Jail. I know our culture. They get a little bit of information and they run crazy. Yeah. I know numbers. I know good. I could get a TurboTax and stop that. Leave it alone. Don't even think about it. I'm just letting you know.
But what y'all should be thinking about though, if y'all don't get anything from this, there's a lot of gems and a lot of value that was in this interview. But there's one thing that really fucking stands out is how we can take our creativity as people of the culture in order to tap in and get paid for it. Yep. If you are a fucking great graphic designer, if you're drawing pictures, you could be a graphic designer at a brand. You could be doing these ads. If you're creative and coming up with videos, right? You're doing scores and all that for music videos in the hood. You could also be doing that for commercials. You could be running Super Bowl ads. You could be doing so much things. You great writer, you write raps, you be coming up with jingles. There's so many ways that we could penetrate the market and corporate, utilizing our fucking talents. And that's what we got to be thinking about, y'all. We can penetrate this whole corporation. We got to think differently, man. It's bigger than the clubs, man. It's bigger than what we're thinking about right now, man. Just use your shit, use our creativity and the resources we have and fucking win. Just like this brother's doing right now, man. Straight up. That's the real.
Teaching, baby. I had to give you the organs on that. You know, I like
when you real, man. That shit is inspiring, bro. It's inspiring.
And you know, I want to say this. I want to say this to you, Martin, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like I said, I know a lot of DJs that's been doing DJing for a long, long time, man. And I've never actually sat down and had this much fun of it and of having an intellectual conversation of just not only understanding the art and taking a passion in the art, but understanding the business. And you taking the time to recognize your niche and saying, like, I want to dedicate myself to one specific road, right? Because DJing, like you said, there's so many paths to DJing, right? And you like, yeah, I could do that, but I don't want to do that. You know, so I just want to congratulate you, man, because that's a message that we definitely have to send to the culture, right? You can be good at something and you can niche down. You can niche down because at the end of the day, like DJ Graffiti said, there might be an event for you. There might be something that you can do, but you don't want to do. It's not really in your lane. Let somebody else have that. It's not a loss to you. It's you taking it away from somebody else that could possibly do it better because that's their lane in doing it. And just concentrate more in doing what you need to do, right? Because oftentimes, and I get it, right? The culture, we're hurting. A lot of people are in poverty. You know, they're hungry. They want to eat. They want to feed. They want to do the right thing. So I get it. We don't never want to look at money left on the table, right? Because we look at it like money lost. But sometimes it's the more important lesson is hone your craft. Be willing to take a step or two back to take 4 or 5 steps forward. And then you can become like this brother and say, well, listen, you know, if I'm not number 1, I'm top 2. You know what I'm saying? He's not even talking top 5. He's like, I'm in my lane. If you coming in my lane, then you're definitely underneath me because in my lane, this is what I do and I'm the best at it. And that's only because the man took his time to refine his craft, learn his craft, and study his craft. So, you know, we appreciate it. I learned a lot. I'm not even going to hold.
This was dope.
I learned a lot, man. You know, and it's dope because I didn't even think the conversation was really going. I knew we was going to have a dope conversation, but I didn't expect it to go this way. And I love
this shit.
Yeah, and I learned a lot, man. And I know a lot. And I'm telling you, Martin, we know a lot of DJs and a lot of them tune in. There's going to be a lot of people that's going to listen to what you've said and you're going to get the wheels turning. I promise you, right? And you're going to give them different possibilities of holy shit, I didn't even think I could do that. And that's what this show is about. That's what this platform is for, right? For us to bring successful brothers like yourself on this platform. For you to be vulnerable and share your story with us and know that we're going to deliver the message the way you want it delivered, right? Now, we're not going to distort the message. We're not going to turn it into sound bites and make it seem like something else. We're going to deliver it the right way so that the next up and coming generations can benefit from it fully. And that's what we're doing over here, man. We appreciate you. For real.
So, well, thank you for creating this platform, right? Man. Thank you all for creating it and being consistent with it and showing up and taking it all around the country, all around the globe, right? I see you all popping up at, we at this conference now. We here. All right. I see what you're doing, right? And I know it's not easy, right? I have a weekly event that I do on LinkedIn called Uplift, right? I get on there every Monday at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. And anybody who wants in on that, go to join.djgraffiti.com. If you want to join that, join.djgraffiti.com.
Send a link in the private chat, bro. We're gonna put it on the screen.
Yeah, we'll put it on the screen. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, right, put it in the private chat. We'll throw it on the screen.
I'll have to. It'll be hard for me to give me a second. I'm gonna have to. I have you all up here in the screen so I can be looking right at. I'm gonna have to pull that down to my other monitor. I'll do that in just a second.
Say it to me again, Martin. Just say it to me again. What is it?
Join JOIN .djgraffiti.com.
Got you.
Yep.
That's it. Bing bong. Going up on the screen.
But yeah, I bring that up because I've been doing that for 80 weeks now, right? We are up to 80 different weeks of that weekly. And I know you all have had the consistency or in multiple seasons and doing it. So I bring that up just because I know the hustle. I know, you showed up today, Chad, even though somebody passed away, right? Like, it's like people, that's the biggest, shortcut. The shortcut is the long road, right? Being consistent, showing up, putting the work in, building it when nobody else is paying attention, making sure that you still show up, right? Like that's the thing that most people don't want to do. So when you look at where I got to, it's only because so many other people gave me game along the way. So that's why I'm open and willing to share a lot of things that other people wouldn't tell you, right? Like they don't want you to know, oh, you could just get on LinkedIn and build a relationship with people and then you could do events, right? Because they're gonna be like, wait, this is my lane. Hold on. But I believe we all have something special and unique that God put inside us, right? And so we need to show up in a way to make the most out of that, right? Like that's what it's about. So that's why every event is not for me, because I got something special in me that you don't have, right? And the person over here,
I was, he was parted. Martin, you was parted.
Martin, I had to.
Martin, you was parted, Martin. I ain't gonna hold you.
God one slip.
You was on.
God, we talking biblical.
God, and you was on the road.
As soon as you drop God.
But, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm here with it. I'm talking about.
My God,
I'm talking about the spirit that's different in me. I ain't talking about none of that. What you talking about? But
you my God, but they love it on YouTube. They laughing on YouTube.
It gets them going. Listen. So YouTube loves it.
Rewind that and put the organs in there. That's what it needed now.
Oh, you want to? Okay, hold on.
Yeah, let's get it. No, come on, give them the organs. Let's go.
Nah, but for real though.
Hey, preach.
There you go. For real though, just know that what's for you is for you, right? And don't be concerned about what somebody else has, what you don't have, right? You don't have it because you haven't found what's for you yet, right? You need to figure out that unique space, how you can be different, so you can show up and say, nobody else is doing this but me, this specific way. Yes, you might be a DJ, and there's tons of DJs out there, and everybody got a certain skill set that makes them it gives them the ability to call themselves a DJ, but how can you differentiate yourself from the person down the street and around the corner, right? They might be your homie, they might be your peoples, right? But you got to be special and different so that people have a reason to call you, right? And that's all I wanted to do is like, I was very specific about, I need to figure out a way to stand out and be different and be special. And it just so happened I had business and music and a love for both and could bring them together and do it fluidly. So that's me, right? From here, if you can still do corporate events, but make sure you don't try to just copy what I'm doing. Figure out how you can show up and be different than me, because then that'll be the reason that they call you, right? Yes. That's all it is. I just appreciate you giving me the platform to really, this is the most that I've ever shared, for 2 straight hours of really just, maybe not 2 hours. Yeah, no, we 2 hours in, 2 hours, right?
I'm gonna give people the real. I want to give people the context too, bro. Like of our conversation afterwards. I mean, before this, right, and what led up to even being here. Like you would hit me up, bro. You hit me up on several occasions. Yo, let's just talk. Yo, bro, keep going, keep doing your thing. Y'all see what you're doing. And then we got on the call, man. He was like, man, I see you frustrated, bro. I hear your frustration in some of your pods. You know what I'm saying? But don't worry, you're doing it, bro. Don't worry. Don't let them see that. And it was a lot of game that am I lying, Martin, bro? We've had some real ass conversations, bro. And I want to make that stuck to my mind. Public.
Let me put that out there. So
it's real.
Perception is reality. We kind of know that to a certain degree, and it's or perception to other people is reality, right? Sure. That's why in hip hop, why anybody who gets on, as long as it's within their brand, right, they're gonna go get a chain and a watch. Why? Because we look at them and we're like, oh snap, they kind of made it. Look at the icy chain, look at the watch, they must have made it, right?
You making me feel bad, Mark. Hold on, you making me feel bad.
Oh, don't tuck your jewels, right? No, it's no, but what I'm saying is, don't tuck nothing. But what I'm saying is, we look at those as success symbols, right? So even before somebody is really popping like that, they want to go and get a chain and a watch. Why? Because that's a success symbol. It's like when I see you with the chain and the watch, I feel like you made it, right? So I'm not putting it down. It's not a negative thing. It's like you got to actually realize what are the success symbols and whatever the industry is in your market, right? So what I was trying to say when I was talking to Jarrett was, to a certain degree, you want to make sure it's okay to be frustrated, but you want to make sure that like there's somebody who might be watching the show who might think you got it popping because you show up with a certain personality and everything is fluid and comfortable. Yeah. And then you get on the mic and say, man, they won't give us this look and they're trying to hold us back or whatever, right? And then they like, oh snap, I was about to invest, but I guess they're not where I thought they were based on right. And so I just didn't want that, there's always a time for it. and you can speak to that. You can be frustrated, but you just have to be aware of who's receiving that information and how they're going to act on it, right? So like sometimes you might just want to put that out in a different forum. You know, it's everybody has their own prerogative of how they're gonna move, but you might want to, you know, sometimes here, let's just put it here, and I got one more point. All right, you might just want to say, okay, let's just show up in the way that we think a successful, completely successful podcast that's 10 times above ours. Look, what does that look like? Can we show up like that? Because guess what? When somebody else sees it, they're gonna think you 10 times more successful than you are, and then they will bring you opportunities that match that. Right. And so like that's why I'm like, sometimes people say, this was the other point. People talk about faking it until you make it. I don't really even believe in that, right? I think what's really got to happen is internally, you got to determine who you are, right? And then you show up like that now. You're not faking it until you make it. Internally, you say, this is who I am. I may not have the money to show for it. I may not have the contacts or the clients or the whatever it is to go with it just yet, but that's who I am. So I'm going to show up like that today, right? And then eventually it'll catch up with me. All those other things will catch up with me. And I think we saw that from Kanye. We didn't realize it, but remember when Kanye was like, I'm a genius. They don't know. He was frustrated. He was like, the fashion industry won't give me the looks I want, right? Like that. They won't, you know, he was with the conversation with Sway, where he was like, you don't have to answer, Sway, right? Where he was frustrated. But in that very same interview, he was like, I'm the best at this. I'm a genius. I'm on the same level as these other people. I'm one of the biggest fashion brands. And everybody was kind of like, oh, yeah, kind of crazy, man. What are you in here talking about, right? Like we believed he had some fashion sense, but we didn't know that he had Yeezus. I mean, you know, Yeezy in his heart. And that was the seed that was already planted in him that don't hit no buttons, but we didn't know.
You pardon.
He already knew where he was going, right? And so the frustration, it was okay to air out the frustration, but then he went and made it happen. He wasn't faking it until he made it. He knew who he was, and then he just waited for everybody else to catch up and see. Now, beyond that, I'm not advocating for, you know, certain things that he, you know, I'm not saying that I agree with everything he does, but I just remember personally that was huge for me. That was because I was like, dang, you know, he became the person who was a multi-billionaire before the billions showed up. And I was like, wow, I need to start moving like that in every context in my life. And I got to be careful how I show up, because sometimes I'm up here showing that I'm not there yet, right? Like I'm outwardly giving appearances that I'm not there yet. And therefore I can't attract the people to me, the opportunities to me that would show up for a person who is there, right? So like you got to kind of manage that. That's why I say appearances are reality in that way, because other people just, all they know is what they see sometimes and like how you show up. So you got to sometimes be aware of that to make sure that it's not working against you.
Message. I love that. You know, here's my thing, you know, here's the battle that I can tell you that we will have every single day, and I have no problem. See, here's the thing. Our thing is impact over metrics. We've made that decision already. So guess what? We could put out, we talked about this 2-3 episodes. We got footage and shit. We could involve ourselves in a lot of situations going on right now where we could have been monetized to a certain level. We're just not doing that. You see, we sacrificed a certain level of success by not doing a certain thing. But in doing that, if we're going to carry this across the board, but in doing that, then we're going to keep it real across the board. You understand what I'm saying? So guess what? Yes, we are a dope podcast, and yes, we're charting on Apple under 200, and we rocking, and you see us everywhere. But guess what? The message, the impact that we want to have is this shit is not easy. And even though we make it look easy and we might make it look a certain sort of way, we still want to spread the message that this shit takes a lot of time, effort, hard work, and sometimes it's not fucking easy. So it is the balance in that we believe in. Like, guess what? If you really wanted to rock with us, then you're going to rock with us. You understand what I'm saying? Like we talked about it, right? If you already know who we are, we shouldn't have to beg you to come rock with us. You already see the product. You already see what it is. So it's important for us to let our audience know sometimes the frustration, because we want to give them a complete view of what's going on, not just you know, we look in this way, so understand it's all peaches and cream, because then you'll send a misguided form of what this really takes to get this level, right? Because DJing for a hobby and DJing for a business is something completely different. Podcasting for a hobby and podcasting as a business where you don't have a job, where this is your job, is completely different. And what we don't want to do is spread misinformation. We don't want to make people quit their jobs and get a little bit of info. I told you that's what the culture does, right? Remember, a lot of people want to get rich quick. They're looking for a shortcut. They're looking for a scheme. So what we try to do emphatically is let them know that the information that we're giving to you here is real. The good, the bad, the ugly, you're going to get the balance. And whatever that looks like, we're willing to accept the consequences of that.
That's what it is. It's all about balance. All about that balance, right?
Great. We don't want to and we could ruin somebody, right? I just told you, I'm not being funny, but that's the way the hood operates. You could have somebody go out right now, go get TurboTax, and just because you said your accountant, he's a success, his accountant uses TurboTax, and people start up businesses. And I'm telling you what information does, especially when somebody thinks I can get a couple dollars off of this real quick. They call to action. Urban community call to action. You want a motherfucker to call to action? Make him think he could get the bag real quick without doing too much work. Make him think that he could get the bag real quick without doing too much work. Call to action almost immediate before he even get off the fucking. It's already done. So we have to be careful with the information that we project, right? Yes, we are a podcast. Yes, we work hard, but we let people know the struggle that we go through because we want them to know the work that it takes to even get to our level. And we're not even at nowhere near what the other ones might be, but we're not at the bottom either. So that way they don't just run out and think, oh, I can make a podcast, I can monetize quick their job. And then you understand what I'm saying? So I feel like with information, especially with our culture, we have to be very careful on how we disseminate it. It cannot just be misguided, or it can't just be, one lane. It has to be the balance. It has to be the balance, because other than that, when we ask people to trust us, DJ Martin, these corporations trust you. You heard what you said? They're paying for the fact that they know when you come through, it's a slam dunk. We are on 107, 108 episodes. We are developing trust from our community. People will hang on the words that we say and the information that we disseminate. It is our job to make sure that we cover most of our bases as much as possible, because if not, that trust, we can ruin people's lives by spreading misinformation or not elaborating on that information enough, and somebody taking a tidbit or a soundbite from a clip, how we clip this up, and then they go out there and do something foolish, and we cannot be a part of that actively.
That's real.
I'm with you 100%. So let me clarify something on that note.
Yeah.
Sharing the struggles and the hardships that you go through, I'm with that 100%, right? Like that's always something you want to share, because whoever is tuned in, if they do want to follow in your footsteps, right, that's going to help them to prepare for that journey, right?
Thanks.
Now, the only thing that I would be concerned about sometimes, and it's not all the times, but sometimes, is how you if you are talking about somebody not giving you a look. That's what I'm specifically saying. And sometimes you want to be aware of that, because you may be telling somebody else who was getting ready to give you a look that it's risky, right? Because everybody wants the thing that everybody else wants, and nobody wants the thing that nobody wants, right? Like if it's a restaurant and you go by there and you never see anybody standing in line, it might be amazing food, but you don't really want to go in there because you never see anybody in there, right? It's telling people, let me go a different way. If it's a line out the door and around the block, you want to just go stand there. It may not even be that great, but you want to go stand in line just because everybody's standing in line, right? So that's the only thing. That was the only thing that I was trying to get across sharing, is that sometimes airing your frustrations out can make it seem as though nobody's giving you the look. And so then that other person on the other side who might want to give you an opportunity or spend some money on you is like, well, it must be risky. Maybe nobody will do it because they're concerned they might not get the return they're supposed to get, right? And so that's why I said perception is reality sometimes, but that's not the real. The real is that, whoever it is might be killing it, but you gotta make sure that that's out there too. You can say, yeah, we're working our way up, and we're going through these changes, and everybody has to struggle to go through these. But then you also present, we're the best at what we do. You know, it's a balance, just like you said. You got to make sure that it's balanced. But I just know it's sometimes easier for somebody on the outside to share that information of how it might have come off than it is for you or me to know how I'm looking, because I'm myself, and I'm in the middle of thinking through it and going through it all the time, and I don't know how it looks from the outside. So I need other people who are willing to be honest with me and come share, like, wait a minute, you did this, and you know, maybe you might want to switch this up a little bit, because they want me to win, right? Like, and so I saw that, and you all give up so much game that I felt, Jarrett, I was like, I reached out just because I was like,
that's real.
I know he'll take this the right way, and no, I'm not hating. No, I just want to see you win. And I know if I was in, you know, when the shoe was on the other foot, you would come to me and say the exact same thing, right?
That's
like,
real.
'cause you all give up nothing but game on every episode. So I just appreciate you all for creating the platform, putting all of this sweat, time, money, tears, right into it. And I thank you
that's
for
why I
having me
couldn't have
on.
no.
Hayes had a comment.
Wait, hold on.
We got to pay some bills. We'll be right back.
Well, TurboTax has been recognized as one of the top software providers for taxpayers filing personal tax returns. It also offers both basic and more advanced tax solutions for small business owners. For the right price, you might have something, and we'll help promote you on more than a title.
I'm just saying, I'm not bashing it, Hayes. I'm just saying,
Send a check bashing.
culture, you know what I'm saying? I just don't want him to do it. But you know what? Since DJ Graffiti has come through with so much positiveness, and you know, he's talking about us letting y'all know what we're doing. We're gonna drop a bomb on y'all right now. We didn't talk about this before, but we're gonna say it right now. We have officially been invited to cons. We're going to South of France, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to the South of France. We're going to the Cons Festival. Letting y'all know right now, we're working out the details, but more than the title, we'll be in the South of France in June. You understand what I'm saying? With a lot of big wigs, and we're going to be out there shaking hands and kissing babies. Because we talk our shit, but we the best at what we do. So we taking our talents to the South of France.
From the motherfucking couch to con, baby, we outside. And to loop it back for people too, the audio listeners. That was one of my first. I was one of the first salespeople to work at con. And I'm gonna keep it all the way real, yo. I didn't even get to go to con. I was going through some personal shit, man. I ended up getting fired from that job. Like, I was in the worst states in it was crazy personal situation. And I was still killing it, doing sales, got let go, didn't go to the event. And now we're going 10 years later as a business owner, running our podcast and OTB Digital to go out there and was asked personally to do our shit. And we doing it from the couch, y'all. 108 episodes in. Y'all hear the frustration. But for times like this, man, it's all worth it, y'all. And this is what it's about, man. It's the balance. This is what we do it for.
Listen, man. I'm gonna be somewhere on the water where there's no mosquitoes.
I'm be everywhere.
You rocking some sandals or what? You gonna have some open toe sandals?
You shit me? I'm gonna strut with my leopards.
Listen, now pretty feet, you gonna get these toes.
I'm gonna strut with my leopards, bro.
Yo, you know. So we letting y'all know we working it out, ladies and gentlemen, and be clear. In the road to cons, like we said, we're doing a LinkedIn live event on the 25th that we're finalizing the details on that. We started promoting that already. We're gonna have our own panel and we're gonna rock this thing out and understand, right? Everybody can't do an event at LinkedIn headquarters. Everybody can't stream live from LinkedIn headquarters. You dig me? So yeah, we gonna talk our shit some more. What you know what I'm saying? It's more than the title, baby. So DJ Graffiti, man, let the people know where they can find you at, man. This was a dope episode.
This is super dope.
Super dope, man.
Look me up, DJ Graffiti on LinkedIn. That's the best place to go. DJGraffiti.com. I'm pretty much DJ Graffiti everywhere, right? Like with no spaces, underscores, just straight, just like you see it on the screen. DJ Graffiti on you won't find as much content on all the other places, but if you go Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, but on LinkedIn is the main place to find me. That's the main spot that I am at right now, and that's linkedin.com/n/DJ Graffiti. That's it.
So
there you go.
So I just I just followed you too because I realized we wasn't linked up on LinkedIn. So you just got the follow joint for me to connect on it. You know what I'm saying? So we definitely appreciate you coming in. Jarrett, do you have DJ Graffiti's personal number?
Yes, I actually do. Yep.
Okay.
Gotta make the group chat.
So this is what we do. This is what we do with every one of our guests, Martin. You are now part of the More Than the Title family. We don't believe in gatekeeping. Welcome to the family. You are a part of 100+ guests that have been on the show, and we are opening up our network to you. The reason that we ask for your personal number so that we can create a group chat between me, you, and Jarrett. That way we can continue this conversation moving forward because, I believe in building relationships, and my cousin believes in cultivating relationships. So this is our first conversation, me and you, but it definitely won't be our last, right? If you've seen anybody, and I mean anybody on this show that you want to connect with, or you want to pick their brain, or any type of building that you want to do, you let us know, and we will be glad to make that introduction to you and welcome you to the family and show you that our resources are now your resources so that we can help you grow and try to help you out in your endeavors. That's first of all. Second of all, if you ever in New York City, you understand what I'm saying? And you want to come, check us in person, break bread with us in person, we extend to you the personal invite, man. Just let us know when you're going to be in the city. Please try to give us a heads up because a lot of our guests fly in at 7 in the morning and call us and say, I'm here. It's Anthony Teterboro.
We got to make shit happen.
Yeah, so we got to make it happen. But we welcome you to the More Than the Title family, man, and we look forward to eventually linking up with you, man. And let's keep in contact, man. This has been a super dope episode. Jay, what we got coming up next?
This was fire, man. We got Adrienne Wallace pulling up on Thursday. So this young lady was the CMO of major brands, worked at Diageo, helped scale them. She's been a big mentor I know in my professional career. When I say she's one of the smartest queens I know in the industry, like she is one of them ones. So she's gonna come through, drop a lot of gems, share a lot of game with us, man. On the 16th, we've got a lot. Oh shit, we got Aaron Raby. Shout out to Aaron Raby. He does a big hip-hop event. The big hip-hop event out in UK, man, is a global event. Man, he wanted to come on the show, man. We definitely gonna hear how he set up an event, what goes into it, how do you make a successful event, how was he pushing the culture out in the UK. So we want to hear that. And we also got Mario Armstrong. Shout out to our brother on Wednesday, special episode on Wednesday. So if you're not familiar with Mario, this brother has won an Emmy. This brother's spoken on NBC News. He's a big wig in this industry. He's a motivational speaker. And if you heard this bell on the show, if you heard the bell, he's the brother we got that idea from. So I'm speak on the stage at David Shands and say, oh, that bell, we need it. We need the bell. So he's coming through to get the bell, get his flowers. And it's going to be real, man. So shout out to that brother, man. Shout out to everybody. Man. Shout out to y'all, man, for staying on for 2 hours and 16 minutes and for showing the love, man. This is real. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're rocking with us.
And listen, man, like my cousin said, we growing and glowing. Please remember, we are nothing without the support of our fans. We're nothing without the support of our guests that courteously come on this show, man, and allow us to tell their stories. And we appreciate you guys, man. We're growing and glowing. We're on track again, to be one of our biggest months streaming on YouTube again for the 3rd month straight. And we're on track to make our first 1 million views this year. All thanks to y'all. We growing and glowing. More Than the Title. We love y'all, man.
We out there. We see y'all.
See y'all next week, man. We out.
What you know about me? Seen it all, heard it all. Oh, what you know about me? I done it all, just want it all. Oh, what you know about me?